Hello, my front-end friends. I think we're live. I think I'm here. Hopefully you can hear me. And yeah, I haven't done a live stream in a while, so I always feel a little bit uncomfortable and don't know, well, not uncomfortable, but I don't know if it's working or not because I always forget how to set everything up. Yeah, hi everybody. Thanks for coming to join me today. I think it's going to be fun. As I said, I haven't done a live stream in quite a while, so I'm looking forward to doing this and to hanging out with all of you. Um, yeah, there we go. It looks like the chat has caught up with me. So if my audio levels are off or anything like that, please do let me know. Because I think they're all good on my end, but it's possible that it's a little bit low. So if it is, just tell me and I can boost the audio up a little bit. I don't know. Let's see. We're already have quite a few people here, so thank you all for coming. I definitely saw. First of all, actually, anybody who was coming from my Discord, I apologize if for getting the timing wrong there. I realized I set the event to an hour early. A little bit low. We can boost the audio up. Hopefully, let me know if that's any better. I just boosted it. Some people saying louder, some people saying it was good, so I've put it up a little bit. Hopefully, that improves things. Awesome. I see Chris here, who I think was it on email? No, we chatted on Discord, where he mentioned that he was happy to see me doing I code this stuff, and I know he's a big fan. I think he's done a lot of the challenges, if not all of them. So that's pretty cool. I haven't done too many, but I've done a few. I think it's a cool platform and a fun platform. It's what we'll be using to do at least one challenge. We'll see how time goes, because I also want to do another thing. I'm a little bit disorganized. I couldn't find my glasses for the last 10 minutes, and I've just been looking all over for them. Luckily, I found them. I can see without them, but it's not as clear. Like after half an hour of coding without them, even with the large font sizes I use, it gets a little bit hard on the eyes. So yeah, I also found, I'm trying to find the link for it. There it is. An HTML tags memory test that I want to do during the live stream as well. I'm going to leave that tab open so I don't forget about it. We'll probably do a few little AMAs and a few other things like that along the way as well. Shabam, your first time joining a live? Awesome, thank you for coming. For a lot of people, I'm guessing it's your first time seeing me do a live stream, again, just because I space them out so much. I might do them more, we'll see. Every time I do one, I say I'm going to do more of them. The problem is I end up spending too much time on them most of the time, because I sort of set a hard time limit, and then I always go over by like an hour. Just see what else is. People saying the sound is better, so I'm glad to hear that. Perfect. Tushar, thank you very much, saying you enjoy my teaching style. I appreciate that. Okay, I'll talk, just since we just got started, I'll let some more people come in. And just before we dive into the first challenge, I find it fun on YouTube because people either, it's YouTube. And maybe, actually, I will say, I'm going to preface it because I did a video a little while ago where I mentioned like negative comments I was getting. In general, my comments are really positive. It's like the friendliest place, the comment section on most of my videos. But every now and then I still get people complaining that I go on too long to cover stuff. And I'm like, I've been doing this for almost 8 years now. I have over 800 videos, which is wild. So like, I think we found my style of making video. I don't want to be like that stubborn old man who's like, I'm not going to change for the better. But yeah, if you just want like, here's the code, I'm not the right place for that. If you want to understand why I'm writing all the code I'm writing, I think I'm better at that. Alvaro challenge. Given a div with resize both, resizable in both directions, center the largest possible perfect square div that fits inside of it. That's actually not that hard to do. We could start with that challenge before we get into the real one. Why don't we do that? Let me open a code pen. I have a Stream Deck that I usually use for all of my recording and for when I do live streams, and it's not working with OBS for the last few days for some reason. So I have to manually figure out, there we go. I'm gonna try this instead of the circle version. I also wouldn't mind if people would let me know if they like this, because I've been experimenting with this on YouTube as well. I find with code pens and stuff, it works well, whereas with VS Code, just because with code pens it's easier to like resize and I have control over stuff a little bit more. So let's just do div, or let's do, yeah, we'll do parent with a child. And I'm going to, let's say the parent has width for now of 300 pixels, height of 300 pixels. Oh, I'm going to cheat a little bit at this. Well, that's not cheating. It's using modern CSS. Let's give it a background so we can see it. Pink. There we go. And we want a resize of both. And for resize, we do need to do an overflow, right? Auto, I think. Is that correct? I always forget. Yeah, there we go. So now I can resize it. And then the child. So we'll say child is, so for the width, we just say, 1 second, I got to think now. Yeah, width will be 100 container query min, and height will be 100 container query min. Does that not work? Oh, and then we have to define the container. So container type inline size. Oh, size. Not often I do a container type of size. And let's give this a background of light blue. So now it will always be a square, and it will always be as large as it can possibly be. There we go. Fun little challenge to start things off. If I wasn't using modern CSS, it'd be a little bit harder, but you could probably do something similar-ish. I'm not sure how I would do it, to be honest, but we have container queries, so I might as well use them. A circle version, border, radius, 100, BW, whatever, that'd be a circle. And we can even do margin auto. I should change the color of this, actually. Let's make it steel blue so we can see it better. Yeah, margin auto, and then we can do justify on the parent. Justify content center? Am I wrong? What's the one we can do now? Items? Place, justify. We can do block centering. Anyway, there we go. It's always a circle. Oh, the circle might have been talking about my head. Yeah, you get to see more of my screen if I'm using the circle, except I always forget to, my face is in the way, so then I don't leave it. How to make a table, I'm not, with horizontal and vertical scroll, not today, I can't. Maybe I could do a video on that. Tushar, I've sort of done that before, a smooth slider carousel without using JavaScript library. If you, I'm going to open it in another tab just because I'm going to go to my YouTube studio to find it. But I'll put a link in the description. Yeah, horizontal. Probably this is, I think this would be the right video. I'll put it in the chat. Yeah, this one here. Oh no, you're not going to see it. This is one thing. Okay, I'll just put a link in the chat. It's not perfect, but. So CQ, never heard of CQ min. So CQ min and CQ, there's other CQ, it's container queries. So you might have seen like CI for container inline, CQI, container query inline, and other stuff. This is actually the first time I use a CQ min. So that's kind of cool. Always keep a child centered at all times. Yeah, I mean, why isn't this working on the vertical axis? Whatever, we'll just do display grid, place, content, center. That should work. There we go. It'll always be centered. This will always center the children in the middle. There's place content and place items. Place items, it depends on how many children you have. Sometimes you need one, sometimes you need the other. Will this be, you joined late, you didn't miss anything yet, Ravi. Yes, it will be saved though. You'll be able to watch the full replay, and I'm going to take certain parts of it and actually make some individual videos around it. Browser support for container query is probably about 90-something%, I'm guessing. Can I use CQ min? 88%, not bad. Oh, Firefox, what? Oh, whoops, that's the function. I was like, no, that's not right. Even better, almost 92%. It's all the major browsers for the container query length units now. Nishville, you stopped thinking about grid when you discovered Flex. Wow, that's I'm a little bit blown away by that, to be honest. I've planned some time during this to talk about Flexbox and grid a little bit at one point. So I'll answer. Let's go back to the. Is it this one? Ooh, I got the right one. Okay. I'll answer a couple more questions, and we'll dive into the first challenge that we're going to be doing. Or that I'm going to try. You saw it already. It's nothing too complicated, but I think it'd be fun to do. And I could use some time there to actually talk. It'd be kind of a Flexboxy one, actually. Maybe. We can do that with grid. We'll see. It'd be easier with Flexbox for responsiveness. But anyway. Mehul's asking if it's important to learn Sass. It really depends on the scopes of your projects. I definitely do still use Sass within my workflow. It's part of one of my courses, Beyond CSS. So I do think it's still relevant, but it depends. If you don't feel like you need mix-ins, which are coming to CSS probably eventually, but that's years down the road at this point. If you don't need custom functions, if you don't, there's some features of it that I still like. I do a lot of stuff with loops still, which I don't think are even on the horizon. So it really depends on what you like doing. And also sorry if I miss any questions, guys. I probably won't be able to keep up with everything that's going on. But Even just asking what challenge I'm going to be doing. It's gonna be number 45. It's called social login. I didn't put it. I'll put the link to the chat. This is the first one I'll be doing. Media query variables is a really big one. Yeah, B1 mentioning that. So I don't know why they're not making progress on that. It's really frustrating that they're not, but it's been, you can do that with post CSS too though. So Roland's here. Welcome, Roland. Carl, I am reading the chat. I'm going to be coming back and forth to the chat depending if I'm coding or not. This was a question from that I'd wanted to answer, which was what's the minimum browser compatibility that I look at? The first thing I'd say is look at your audience, and if you do have access to analytics on that, that's the best place to start, because then you sort of know. If not, it depends on the project a little bit, and it depends on the feature. I've held off on using layers and other things like that, even held off on subgrid, because this layers especially was a big one. Because if you use layers, the CSS won't work if the browser doesn't support it. Whereas there's other features, like view transitions right now have terrible browser support, but you could use it right now, and it just means that people that have browsers that support it will get the view transition. So for me, it's even with the scroll, what's it called? The scroll-driven animations with animation timeline. I'll use that now, just making sure that if it doesn't load, and I'll test it in the browsers where it doesn't work to make sure that everything is in the right place, and I haven't like animated it off to start with or something like that. But it's really easy to do progressive enhancements. So if that's the case, I'll use the feature right away. If it's a feature where it literally will break the website if it doesn't work, then I'll hold off on it, or I'll see if there's a polyfill or something else. And then it depends completely on the project. If it's going to be public facing for my own audience, I'm pretty willing to take some chances on anything past 90%. I'll risk it. If it's something that would be for a larger audience, I'd probably wait for quite a bit higher than that actually. So it does depend a lot. Judge Gigi asking, is it possible to do a hamburger menu without JavaScript? It 100% is possible, and I wouldn't recommend it. When you have user interactions, there's anything where you sort of have to hack something. You can do it, you look up the checkbox hack, and you could find out how to do it. But it's not good for accessibility reasons. It makes it harder for a lot of users to actually interact with it, probably. Jonathan, I still am doing my weekly emails. If you haven't seen one in a while, though, I did purge my list recently, so it's possible you got purged. I tried to prevent that from happening. I sent out a few things. but you might have to resubscribe. I apologize. It's the first time I did a purge. It took like 25 to 30,000 people off my list. So there might have been some casualties by accident. I hope not, but that's a possibility. Joseph, I don't have any plans for JavaScript courses right now. No. Nikolai, does my free course has actual state? I'm not sure what you mean. If you want to ask again, I hopefully can answer, or someone else. Difference between Sass and SCSS is just the syntax. They're the same language, just with different ways of writing it. And I think we're going to jump in. Oh, Sebastian, can I make a minimalist 7.1 pattern as possible beyond CSS as a skeleton template? I could. I'm finishing some content for Module 5. It's going up tomorrow or Friday, one of the two. And then that is something I could add to the course. And I've seen a few people saying you enjoy my content. Thank you all very much. Sergio's the one I just saw now, but for anyone else, yeah, I'm glad. Prakar, how long has it been since I wrote my first line of CSS code? I don't know exactly, because I started writing, or I played around as a hobby project with making websites in the late 90s when I was still in high school. So I don't know when I actually would have written like real CSS, because at the time it wouldn't, I probably started without CSS. Maybe I was doing CSS from then. I'm not 100% sure. All right, so I think I'm going to dive into it. Oh, Giasse, I don't have any plans on covering Tailwind. I do, no, sorry, but it's not in the plans right now. So let's jump into this. My plan for this is I'm actually going to clip this part down and turn it into a regular video. So I probably won't be looking at the chat very much while I'm creating it, unless I get stuck and there's a typo that I need. So I'll just let you know that there won't be tons of user interaction while I'm doing it, but I plan to, yeah, I will be coming back to the chat, or I might take breaks during it to look at the chat and then go back in, and I'll just edit those parts out or something. Yeah, so I think we're going to, oh, Ryan's here. No way. Hey, Ryan. That's amazing. How you doing? I went to high school with Ryan. It has been a long time. I hope you're doing good. I'm never on Facebook anymore, so I think that's where we generally, where I usually saw updates. So I'm glad that you've stopped by. That's super cool. Cool. So yeah, I'm going to dive into this. So let's start the challenge. Social login. If you don't know, I code this. There's a link to it in the description. It is an affiliate link, but you don't have to. It's free if you want to sign up. I guess we're going to get rid of all of this actually, because we have Tailwind stuff on all of it. So let's get rid of all that and just bring our body back in. So yeah, you can sign up for I Code This for free, and it's like a challenge website. It used to be daily. I don't think they do daily challenges anymore, but they give you these things that you want to try and like build out. And yeah, then you can submit it. You can see other people's versions of it, and stuff like that. So this is what we're going to be trying to create. And body right there. So what do we have here? I'm just going to call this a section for a lack of knowing the context of anything else that would be on this site. I'm going to assume that I would have it would be in a bigger site. So there would be other content on here. We don't need Tailwind, so we can, whoops, don't want to get rid of everything. We just want to get rid of that there, that there. Perfect. So yeah, I think that's all we need. Actually, let's just, I think, I forget how to do it. Settings, it's here, right? Let's make the font size slightly bigger, 32. That sounds huge, but when you're recording, oh, cancel. 1 second, copy that. Oh, let's just save and then change the font size. Save. Oh, I can zoom with the mouse wheel, I think it said too. There we go. That's more what I'm used to when I'm recording. So, okay, let's go back to what I'm creating. So if we're doing this, I have the section itself, just a little bit of content, a little thing. This is sort of like the trickiest part of this, is getting the button inside of the little input here. I don't know why I called it a little input, but whatever. And then we have the images down at the bottom. Again, nothing too complicated, but I thought it'd be a fun little warm up that we could do. And knowing me, it's going to take me longer to create this than I planned. So we have the section. I guess we could give that a, we don't need a class on there because we don't have anything else going on. I'm going to put an I guess we'll give it a class. Already working together, log into your account to connect with your teammates. So we'll call this section class equals, I'll just say login CTA. And we'll do this as login CTA. I'm overthinking it. I'm just going to call it title. We're just going to do that. We'll call it section title, actually. I'm guessing, like, I'm thinking larger scope. All the titles probably look the same. Then we have the paragraph in here. And then we have an input. Whoops, paragraph is there. And then we have the input. It might be in a form or something. I'm going to talk about a few different things here because I'm actually going to put a label for this as well. So this will be for email. For email, this is an input type of email. The placeholder on that will be your email at address.com by the looks of it. And then we need a button here. So I'm going to put that in a form, I guess, because that would actually make it work, technically speaking. So we can do that. It's not actually going to work. We're not going to do that. But this, for now, we'll just do a fake arrow. And then we're going to come back to this. Is that going to break things? I think we'll be okay if I do that. Yeah. So my label would just be email here. This is all. The one thing with code this is they don't supply you with the assets or anything, so you sort of do have to find your own. Log into your account and connect with your teammates. Is it teammates? I can't read that small. Is teammates one word? I don't know. I guess so. There we go. I think, and then we need the images down at the bottom. So that's my form, and then here we need the images. Right? Yeah, so we'll just call flex group for now, centered. We'll try this and see if we can get away with that as a couple of utility classes there. And then there we'll just do image times 5, and we'll get some images afterwards. I hate how Emmet, if you do inline elements, puts it all in one line, which makes sense. But yeah, I think that's what we'll do for there. And now let's see what's going on in the chat. I'm going to scroll up a little bit. And I'm just scrolling to see if Ryan answered. I do apologize for everyone else, but it's cool that he's here. Yeah, I'm glad that you're doing well. I am doing well too. All right. Oh, Florin's here too. Hello. I thought you were on a cruise, Florin. You better not be on your cruise watching this. Oh, he's on a cruise with limited internet. Thanks for coming in and supporting. I appreciate that. All right, not too much going on. Can you explain HTML structure on designs with drawing rectangular for... Yeah, we can do that. Why not a list? Is that for the images, Nishville? I'll start breaking down the layout a little bit and what I'm thinking of for this, and then I just want to know if it's the images that you're asking for, why it's not a list. So let's grab that as a screenshot. This is going to cause a problem. I'm going to have to add this in. Let's open my screenshot first of all. The reason it's a problem is I'm only... OBS doesn't have everything here. 1 second. If I turn this on, it doesn't break anything. Oh, let's turn that off. We're going to go here. We get the same window magically appearing. And then... Oh no, that's not going to work. Oh, that sucks. I don't know if I can draw on it then. Because I'm not one of those people that has like cool stuff to draw on. How come I can't show my snipping tool? edit in Paint. I can probably open it. We can probably do it that way instead. Let's find out. This is going to be Paint. Let's go here. It's a C. Paint. Paint doesn't want to work either. That's weird. I apologize. We can't draw on it then. Or if there is a way, I don't know. There's probably some extensions or something you can have that let you draw on stuff. But basically, the section is the entire thing. H2 is there, paragraph, input, and then I guess the box would be around those pictures, and then I just have the images in there. Okay, so there are people, it was for the images, people asking if that should be a list. I don't see a purpose for making this a list. Just because, like, if this had their name and other information relevant, like something else other than just the images, then I could see it being a list. There is an issue just in general online where people overdo lists and use lists for things that shouldn't actually be lists. And most, it's one of the reasons I think Safari screen reader won't announce, if you do a list style none, Safari screen reader won't actually treat it like a list anymore. They've updated it recently. If I know properly, if anybody's here, that can confirm this would be good. But if you have a list in a nav now, it will keep it as a list, even if you do a list, change or list style none on it. But yeah, I screen clipped it. The problem is I'm sharing the window, and all the windows that I'm trying, like when I'm trying to open the screenshot, it's just showing a blank window for some reason. I close that. Let's try that again. But here, this is what I'd want to draw in, and I see it on my screen, but it's not showing it for you guys, and I don't know why. Yeah, for me, the images there definitely don't need to be a list. It's not in my opinion, it's not a list. It's just a bunch of images. And again, if there was more content here, I would leave the alt on all of these blank. The reason I would leave that blank is this is just decorative. It's just a way to make the design look nicer. If it was actually that person's actual teammates and you had a name that would go with each one, even then I probably would leave it blank because I still kind of see it in this context as decorative. And yeah, you're not really adding any context to the page here other than saying like, oh, there's other people in there, right? That's sort of what this design is trying to convey. So to me, that's my thinking of it anyway. One of the fun things with semantics is there's a lot of, what's the right word? Like, there's a lot, people can interpret things in different ways. The meaning of things can be interpreted in different ways because there's no hard rules. It's one of the reasons HTML is probably the hardest of all the languages we have to write. Sebastian, yeah, okay, we'll do this. I could do that. 1 second. I'm scared. I don't have anything on screen that you guys will see. If we do, I have to find the right screen to share. 1 second. This one? Now you actually see my screen. But then I need to change this to then bring that in. We go full screen there. And now, haha, there we go. I was just sharing a window, but I thought I'd be able to share different windows. Just with the setup I have the face the other way, it doesn't work. So yeah, we have the entire section, H2, paragraph. This is my input, my label, and that button. So that's like the form that's going there. And then I just have the images that are all gonna be wrapped together at the bottom. There's a few different ways we could do the images, but this one's fairly straightforward, I think. A few people saying sound is very low. My thing is showing me my sound being okay, and a few people have told me earlier on that the sound was okay. I could boost it up a little bit more, but I can't put it up very much more. We'll do that. We'll see. Let me know if that's better. I can't really go any higher than that though, or I'm going to start hitting the limit for my mic. So I'm going to hit save on that because I don't want to lose anything, and I want to click this. There we go, a nice beautiful website. So let's just, oh, that's JavaScript. We don't want that. You're in the wrong channel if you want some JavaScript. Let's just do a body. It looks so small. I'm not, oh, I am zoomed out. Why am I zoomed out? That's why the font size looks small. I was zoomed out for some reason. Okay, actually, no, before we even do that, let's go back to the image. I'm gonna do a Windows Shift C, and I have Windows Power Tools installed, and that gives me a color picker. If you're on Windows and you don't have Power Tools installed, you'll get them installed. It does a lot more than just the color picker, but it gives me a handy color picker so I can get all my values that I need really easily. So that's gonna be my color primary 1. I'm not gonna overthink my color names for this one. This is this one, which will be, ooh, we're gonna do some fun things here actually that I wasn't planning on. I was gonna keep this one really beginner friendly, but I can't help myself. So we're doing that. I need my white. So we'll just say color neutral. I'm just gonna say 1, and that's an FFF. I think that's all we're gonna need for this one. Cool. So yeah, we're gonna do some modern CSS mixed in here. Even it'd be beginner friendly enough, right? All right, so with that done, let's jump back on to here. Actually, I'm gonna do one thing just because I'll be nice to your eyes. We're gonna do a color scheme of dark, a font family of system UI, just so it's a little nicer on everybody. I don't like having bright backgrounds. We'll switch it back later maybe to see, or we could even do a light and dark theme on it maybe. My body will have a min height of 100. We'll do SVH. Then that's, I was like, why do I have scroll bars? Because I always forget there's a margin that's going to come in with that. And then let's just do display, grid, place, items, center. Sorry, tickle in my throat there. One really nice thing about using color scheme dark is it will change all your inputs to match. It'll match your scroll bars, other things like that. So things that you wouldn't necessarily think of right away, you can always tweak the colors afterwards. It's just setting the defaults, like the user agent styles, all to a dark scheme. All right. To me, I saw a question about why am I using primary 1 and primary 2 here. The main reasons I'm doing that are just because if I look here, like it's blue and blue, so I don't have a secondary color. White, I would never consider a color. I just always call it neutral. Usually I use like 100, 200, 300, 400, 500 naming instead of 1 and 2, but I only have 3 colors here, so I don't want to overthink it. If I had an orange here, then I'd probably have my primary and an accent. And if I had a purple, then I'd probably have a secondary. But because those are the only colors I have, those are the ones I'm going to stick with here. System UI has been around for a really long time now. People just don't know about it. The color scheme is dark. You can actually do dark light or light dark, and it's going to go based on the user's system preferences. If you include both keywords. If you say only light, it will only be the light one. If you say only dark, it will only be the dark. So as I said, we can always come in with a, so maybe my neutral here should actually be a dark color, but I'll follow the design-ish. I said I wasn't going to look at the chat while I'm doing this, but that was a fail. That's okay. Let's look at the design again. The whole thing is a text align center, so we can do that here. Text align center while we're at it. The font size looks a little bit bigger. So there's this funny thing now where it's because we have a whole bunch of new CSS units that are all based on the root stuff. I still think it's one of the reasons I like putting my font family here now. But line height actually makes more sense to put it on the HTML element. But I like having my font size here because I don't like getting away from a base 16 on my HTML. So I have this weird dichotomy, I don't know, split now between my HTML and my body selector. But yeah, let's come and do a font size here of just something bigger. We can always play with that a little bit as we're going. I didn't do the general reset, so we're going to do box sizing border box. We'll do that. I don't know if I'm going to need any pseudo elements, but just in case, before and after can get that too. I'm going to do my margin of 0 and a padding 0 here too. I know some people don't like doing that. I don't really need it for this project, but yeah, we're going to do that because I want to get rid of the margins anyway. I used SVH here just because I find it's the safer one to use on things. You could also use a DVH. You could use, for a simple example like this, you could just use VH. I'm just trying to get into the habit. And actually, speaking of trying to get in the habit, min block size is what I should be using there. I'm trying to get in the habit of using logical properties for my widths and my heights because my brain just hasn't clicked over on that yet. So block size is your vertical axis, the block axis. And then your inline size would be your horizontal axis. Yeah, the S here will take, if you're on a phone and you haven't scrolled yet, you have the UI elements on the phone, so it's going to take those UI elements into account, basically. It's the smallest, it's small viewport height, right? You have LVH, DVH, and SVH. And again, for an example like this, it really doesn't matter which one we're using. I forgot if I called it login CTA. We don't really need a name, but whatever. Login CTA. I'm just letting you know I'm not really if I was doing this as part of a bigger project, I'd probably have a lot more of a reset going on first instead of just diving into it, but it's such a small example. I'm going to code what we have. Though we do have an input and we have the button. We don't have anything, but you might want to include like your select and your text area. On those, I often do a font family inherit, font size inherit. You can also just do the font inherit as well, just because all the font properties are inherited everywhere except in these types of elements, and I might be forgetting one. And we do have images coming in, so we might as well do the max width 100%. And a display block on those for when they do come in, just to make it easier to work with. Yeah, login CTA now. Let's see. So I guess we'll start with the background on there. Background image, because it's a gradient, is our linear gradient of our var 1. I'll put this on multiple lines just because it's easier for everybody to read, including me. Var color, whoops, 2. This should be primary. There we go. Awesome. I said we wanted beginner friendly, so I'm going to sort of level up things, I think. Instead of just going pure beginner friendly, like normally here we could do padding 3 rem or something like that. You could even do it in pixels if you prefer. It's not going to be a big difference. I'm basically only looking at this padding up and down right now in terms of how big it's going to be. That's not terrible, actually. I'm going to leave it like that. But different things you could do here if you are worried about responsiveness is like, it would actually, to me, make sense to do this in a clamp and have it as like a 1.5 rem. We looked at CQs before, so we could say something like 10 container query min, and then we could do 3 as the largest. And that just means as the screen gets smaller, it's going to reduce. I'm going to make that bigger and make this bigger just so we can actually see it like kicking in. So it's really big, and there you go. You can, I have to adjust those numbers, but you can see the top and bottom are sort of shrinking down. I know it's a bit under my head when I'm doing that. Maybe this would be something like 5, actually. There we go. You can see it working a bit more now, where it's shrinking down as that's getting smaller. I think it's a little bit too much at the moment, but I like doing that for elements, just so like as the screen gets smaller, the padding will shrink. Yeah. Maybe I don't need it in this case, so I'm going to get rid of it, but throw that idea out there anyway. We need a border radius, obviously. Border radius of, it looked really big, 2 even. Oh, it's a lot smaller. one. I guess I was thinking of the outer one. Now for that outer one, actually, because we have like this color on the background, and I didn't get that color when I created this, right? Just when it was going behind my head before, that's why I have started using that other one, the non-circle version, more often, because I always forget that stuff is going under my head. Nick, you don't know when the clamp values come in, so they do become kind of magic numbery. That's the only issue with them. And I will say that if you don't mind the lower browser support of container query units, that you might as well use them instead of viewport units at this point, because unlike a container, like if you're doing a regular container query, you need to have a defined container for it to work. It won't just turn in, like it won't work at all unless there's a defined container. Container query units, if there's no defined container, will just use the viewport size. So I don't know if there's a point to, well, that's not true. There's always gonna be a point to viewport units, but they're not very often. Okay, yeah, for that outer color, it looks consistent. Let's fix our gradient, I guess. Is it 45 degrees? Negative 45? I always just, it is negative 45, but this way around, right? Whoops, for going that way. There we go, from the light to the dark. Something like, whoops, 35. We'll do something like that. I think that's what it looked like, more or less. My padding's not enough, and it's gonna space out more, so I'm not worried about getting the padding perfect. I need a lot more on the sides and stuff, but I'm gonna worry about that more once my content is actually laid out properly. Yeah, I want to get that outer thing first though, which I think the easiest way to do that is actually just with either an outline or a box shadow. They both work. I'm going to use an outline, one rem. The nice thing, let's just do solid black or white, I guess, so we can see it. So the nice thing with the outline is it's going to bring in the border radius on its own. The border radius is going to look like it fits the right size, everything else. You can do this even as a border. I don't know why I said the box shadow. Oh, that's why. The border won't do that. And I think they fixed the Safari issues with outline, right? I'm pretty sure they have anyway. But then if they haven't, you could always do a box shadow. If you need like browser support that's better, it would be 0, 0, 0, 1 rem. And then you don't need the solid. And you can get the same effect going on. Doing it this way, there's not really a benefit, or let's stick with the box shadow, but the outline would work fine. What I wanted to show here, all right, yeah, let's use our primary one. So the problem with variables as colors is you can't lower their opacity. You can see it more on this side. Oh, I can do this even now. I forgot. I have this if I want to highlight stuff. I think that's a Power Toys thing too. So yeah, when you I can't lower the opacity of it normally, but now we can do this. And I'm going to get it wrong. It would be an HSL. I'm going to wrap this entire thing in an HSL function, and it would be from, is it from? I forget. I did a video on this, but I don't use it. HSL. Let's see if that works. It did work. Okay, so it is. So I want an HSL value from this. And then I have my H, my SS, my L, and then I can do like over. I always say over. This is just a delineator. It's not a division. But then I can bring in and lower the opacity of that custom property. And it doesn't have, the custom property. And this could even be like FF0 or whatever. It can be anything here, and it's going to work, which is cool. So yeah, I like that. And the reason I'm doing it on that blue color is because even if we had this as a light color scheme, then it would probably, I'm guessing that matches the design pretty good. There we go. Let's see what's happening in the chat. Faith asking, always use pixel when you should use rem. The only time you should 100% always use, or I won't say use rem, I'll say the only time you should avoid pixels all the time is when declaring font sizes. Anything else, you probably won't have any issues if you use pixels for. And that's because if a user changes their preferences in their browser, if you set it in pixels, it's going to take that pixel value for the font size. So if I'm a user who 16 pixels is too small for, and yes, I'm getting to the point where I'm old enough that that tends to be the case. If someone has a lot of websites that have a font size of 16, I'll just zoom in. But some people, instead of zooming in, will just change their browser settings because they want that everywhere. And if you use pixels, then it won't adapt and it won't change. And then that annoys them. So if somebody's taken the time to adjust their browser settings, you want to account for that. So setting your font sizes in rem would be a good idea. And then as far as the other things, it comes down to like, do you want the size of the border radius or the box shadow to adapt when that font size changes or not? You might want it where there's more padding because the font size has changed, or maybe you want this to be hard-coded in at 16 pixels. And even if the browser has the font size changed, you don't care, the border radius will stay. So that comes down to personal preference at that point. And that's not the same as zooming in and out. If you zoom in and out, it affects even if you use pixels. So I'll keep going. If you have more general CSS questions that aren't related to this project, I'll answer some stuff a little bit later on. But I do want to get through this relatively quickly. I'm going to open this and then, no, we can do it here. Visually hidden CSS class. Hide content. There we go. So I'll put a link to this actually in the chat for anyone who wants to read more about it. But I'm basically just going to copy this. And I'm going to bring that in. It's a utility. We'll leave it at the bottom. Did it come with visually hidden? It did. So yeah, I want this visually hidden class, and the reason I want that is because I have a label, and you should always have a label, and I should have an ID on here. ID equals email. So that label serves a purpose. You always want a label on your inputs, even if your design doesn't have one. And that's because if you're a non-sighted user, somebody's using a screen reader, there's other assistive technologies, there's no context for what this is at all, right? Well, I guess, yeah, because it doesn't even mention anything about email here. So it's like log in, they'd end up in an input and they have no idea what that input is for. So you just have the label there and then you use a class of visually hidden, and that makes the input there. It's part of the website, it's part of the content, but sighted users won't see it. You might have worked on projects or seen things they use an SR only, which would be screen reader only. I prefer visually hidden just because I feel like it's more descriptive of what it's actually doing. So if you've never seen something like that before, it's more obvious what's happening, whereas a lot of people might say like, what's SR? You can use an area label. Area labels considered the last thing you want to do is an area label if there's no other choice. Actually, one thing I could do here too, even, which I should have done, because a section won't have any semantic meaning to it unless it has a name. So here I should probably do ID equals login title. And then here you could do an area label and actually label it, because I don't think the title does anything. But you can do a area labeled by, and that would be my login title right there. So the section now actually becomes the way you probably think a section is, because now we've given the section an official title of this one. And the general rule of thumb is if you can have it as actual content, it should be actual content. If you can't for whatever reason, then yeah, in this case, I can use the area labeled by because it's going to look at the actual content. So it's have something. If you don't have like a thing itself, then you use an area labeled by. And if you can't use area labeled by, then you can use an area label. I'm overly generalizing, but that's sort of the waterfall to go down. Okay, so, oh yeah, I need to put a name on this as well. Thank you, Brent, on the input. So it's useful. So name equals email. We can add that in there too. Cool. Now, it still doesn't look fantastic, does it? It's actually, it's not too bad. Let's style up our input a little bit here. So, or you know what? One thing before we do that, this could start my flexbox versus grid thing, but I'm not going to yet. Grid and gap on there. I guess 1 is big enough because I just want consistent spacing, and I think that gives it to me. Yeah, that's not bad. Cool. Now I notice one problem is this line of text is way too long. Now, sometimes you want like a container, you want padding, you want other things that are going to limit the size of something. The problem is, do I have it opened here still? I do. So the problem here is I don't, like if I say I put like padding pushing to the sides this way and this way, if I did that, it's going to give me this total size, but then like my thing is so thick. Don't clip that. This is narrower even, right? And the your would probably break onto its own, like it wouldn't break the same way this is breaking. So I do need this to actually be narrower. It is interesting that the images are lining up to be the same width as this here, but I think that's just more coincidence than anything, or that's how I'm going to see it anyway. So in this case, because this is the only thing that's actually smaller, we'll start with that. So we could just say login CTA paragraph has a max width of 45 CH. And if you don't know CH units, they're awesome. The reason I like using CH for this is it's roughly the width of the 0 character, more or less. It depends on the font and if that information is provided or not, but that's the estimate. The reason I like using CH for that, and you could technically use M and get the same type of thing, but it's like, and I guess you could count your characters and then it gives you a rougher or a bit easier of a way to estimate it. But the good thing with using any relative unit like that instead of just saying rem, so either M or CH would work here, would be if I came in and I say this is, the font size is bigger. Font size is 2 rem. It's going to still, like the max width isn't based on a set value I've put. I can grow or shrink the font size and it's going to keep sort of the same relationship as its max width. So that's why I like the CH unit there. Ryan, thank you very much for that. It is, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And it's super cool that you're here. And a super nice surprise to see you here. So thank you for that. Very much appreciated. All right. Cool. So another thing, so part of the issue here is this has gotten a lot narrower too, just because it's basing it on like the size of this. The reason that's happening, and this is the problem when you do these like silly demos or individual components that aren't based on like something bigger, is this because I'm using a place items of center here on the body. So like if I take, whoops, if I take the grid off of there, it's going to be a lot bigger, right? And it's not centered and there's other issues that are coming in. So that can become an issue. Oh, I can show a cool trick here that actually works with CSS now too, if you have text where this can become an issue. So yeah, I'll look at that with you. It uses nesting, but it's a fun one. Ooh, is it gonna, we'll try it anyway. So I don't know what the, like if should we put this in a container instead, just to make it a bit more realistic? I don't like containers really. Okay, so we're gonna do this instead. We're gonna keep our display grid, but we're gonna try and make it a little bit more realistic. We're gonna say grid template columns of min max. We'll do this on multiple lines again to make it easier for everybody. Min max, we'll do a min in the middle, and then yeah, we're doing it easier. Remember, this is a beginner tutorial. So the min max will be a 1fr, a 1 rem comma 1 fr. I should have just copied and pasted or used multi-cursor there. And then the min in the middle will be 100% comma, or 100% will be a bit wrong. Minus 2 rem. I might have to do that. I'll explain all this in a second. We'll do multiple lines. And then the largest, let's just say it's going to be 800 pixels or something. That should give us a layout. And then all the content. So star will be grid column 1 over 2 over 3. And let's just see the width. So the width actually doesn't look too bad. I'm gonna make it a little bit smaller, 700 maybe. We'll stick with that. And then we want, for this example, I will keep the place. We'll do align items of center. Again, for something, just because it's a one-off, this is a bit complicated. You wouldn't have to do this for a challenge like this. What this is doing for the grid is it's basically creating a container like you might normally do, where we have the this min max on the side is 1 rem 1 fr, so that's taking up the space on this side and this side, and then the middle area is sort of becoming my containery area. And then I'm using a min of 100% minus 2 rem, just because I have the 1 rem on the two sides here that's going to get treated there. And actually I should make these 2, and I'll explain why in a second. And then this would become a 4. And you can use custom properties to make this a little bit more user-friendly. So if we do that, so I get like the space on the sides will always be 2 rem, unless the middle hits 700 pixels, and then those two sides can grow and fill up more space, and then it can shrink back down. So yeah, that works. Then we have the place item. Yeah, I took that off. Yeah, I think we're good. There we go. I'm happy with that. I've done a lot of content on this concept. It's a little bit more complicated maybe than it needs to be, but whatever. We're going with it anyway. Cool. So for this, there's a couple of different things we could do. Because I have the text align, I'm actually going to take this text align center off of, I have it on the body. I did that at the beginning, but I'm going to bring that text align center onto my login CTA. Because this is, you don't know, again, what the rest of it is. It would only be in this component. You'd probably have this. I'm just trying to think. I'm going to put it here. Actually, no, we're going to put it up here. So because I'm doing a text align center on it, and you might have things that are narrower, you could do this where then it's a align, no, justify content center. And then it centers it again. So if you were doing this, you probably would do this anyway. But if ever we don't have a text center class. If you're using something like a text center has a text align center on it, if you ever do something like that, that's like a utility class that you're using to center things, you can run into the problem with your paragraphs getting stuck on the edge like that. So what you can if ever this is the case, you can actually do something like on a paragraph where you have your max width of 35 ch or whatever it is. You can then now use nesting where you say text center ampersand, and then do a margin inline auto. If you're working in a team, they might not like seeing this because nobody's going to know what's actually happening. But I'll just show you that it does work. Fingers crossed. Class equals text center. And it should, oh, it's not going to work. Something like that should work. Because what this is doing is it's any paragraph, the ampersand's a placeholder, so a paragraph that's nested inside of the text center. I'm trying to think why that's not working. I know I'm getting a syntax error here, but I think that's just like nesting is supported in this. Is it not compiling it, or did I just muck something up? I'm curious now. Max width is working. My margin inline center doesn't want to work. Maybe I mucked something up there, but I've done stuff. I used to do this in Sass, but I'm pretty sure it works now in CSS. You can, yeah, somebody's saying, is it SCSS? You can do this in regular CSS now. Maybe that trick doesn't work, but I'm pretty sure that would work. Not sure. Anyway, it doesn't matter too much for this context because I don't think it makes much sense to use it here. I would just do the justify content center. I think that makes more sense. And already we're much closer to the layout that we wanted. Because I was using the ampersand, it's taking it as a placeholder for that element. And so it would work just because of the way that it breaks it apart. As soon as you use the placeholder, it sort of it doesn't get compiled if you're in native CSS, but it doesn't treat it as a nested selector. It treats it as a placeholder for the original selector. I should be able to do it. 1 second. I saw Mark. You shouldn't. No, I don't want to do that. You should be able to do that. Oh, it would be like that. Yeah. But you should be able to do that. This would be, yeah, okay. The nesting is a bit weird there. Paragraph text center. No. This would be what I wanted. I'll play with it after. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole right now and trying to figure. I'll open up a code pen once we finish this, maybe, if somebody reminds me and cares enough, and we'll get it working. Yeah, let's get this one done. So my email address now, let's get that looking a little bit better. We'll just text center, we'll come here. So we'll do a login CTA. Oh, everything's working. My graphics card's having some issues lately. So my screen is frozen, even though I know everything's working. 3, 2, 1, there we go. Input. Whoops, input. You probably wouldn't necessarily want to do it this way, but I know it's my only input. So whatever, we're gonna do it that way anyway. So we want that once again to have a bit of a transparent, let's look at it. We'll take some, actually, I have a screenshot of it. I'm gonna, can I just erase it? Or we can probably, oh, I do have an eraser. There we go. So we want a white border on it. We want the placeholder be white. We want a border radius on there. So we'll start with that. A bit of padding. Ooh, that's probably way too much. Top and bottom look okay. Make it a bit smaller. 0.75 top and bottom, and maybe like a 1.5 on the left and the right. Then border radius 100 VW. If you ever need a pill shape, that's always going to work every single time. Maybe somebody can answer in chat. I only realized this the other day, and I don't know why. When you put a border radius and you change the border radius on an input, it loses the background, like the default background. Oh, is it only if it's a really big one? What's 10 pixels do here? If you put a really big border radius, it loses. Oh no, they all did. Yeah. Why, if I change the border radius, does it lose the background? I don't know. I'm curious if anybody knows the answer to that. The border is a 1 pixel solid. We'll just, oh, I made a color for that, so we should use it. Oh, it doesn't autocomplete the var for me. Var. So interesting thing, actually, I found out at CSS Day, talking to Tab Atkins, why they did the double hyphen. And you're going to be seeing a lot more of it in CSS. If anybody's looked at the popover API, you'll notice that you name, or not the popover, if you've looked at anchor positioning, where it uses the double hyphen as well. And there's one thing that you can custom name that I don't remember what it is now that doesn't involve the double hyphen, and they just said it's a mistake. But Tab was saying that something that we now name in CSS will always start with a double hyphen, just to differentiate anything that's, because not everything's going to be a var. There's some, like if you use anchor positioning, you're just going to have like a double hyphen thing. There's no var involved in it. So it's any custom name that you do, it will always have the double hyphen, just to say this is user created and not something that's actually in, a regular property or value or anything. All right, we need a transparent background, or yeah, we'll do the transparent background first. So we'll use the same trick we used before, which was background color. If you're using backgrounds, I would suggest not using the shorthand. In something like this, you wouldn't run into an issue, but there's all background colors and images. It's easy to use the shorthand, but it can come to bite you. So background color is going to be an HSL from our neutral white. Hey, look at that. We have an autocomplete giving us probably what we want, but this value might be a bit higher. 5. let's go look at the design. Oh, it's very white. 7.5? 8.5. Wow, it's really high. Why doesn't that look dark enough? Why is it... Why is my background transparent? I haven't changed the background colors on things in a long time, and I'm just don't know that I'm missing something here. We'll do the placeholder where I'll wait for chat to help me out. Placeholder, color white. Oh, I should use my var color neutral. See, this is working. I have the ampersand. This is just the this code editor syntax highlighting is a bit out of date. Oh, primary. Thank you. Okay, so we'll do that again. HSL from var neutral HSL over. Again, sorry, I need to stop saying over because it's a really bad habit of mine. Because it's just it's a visual separator. People, when I think because I say over, people think it's dividing. It's not a division. It's your HSL value. That's a divider, visual divider, and then it's the opacity. Yeah, that makes more sense. Use the right color, you're going to get what it should actually look like. All right. So here, I did that all in the form. So let's just come, we'll do this, my input CTA form is going to be position relative. And the reason I'm doing that is because I'm using nesting here. I haven't used it anywhere else. Just if anyone hasn't seen this before, you can do this in regular CSS. Browser support is so-so. It'd be the same as doing login CTA. Login CTA input placeholder, because here I have the input login CTA. So instead of rewriting all of that, you can nest it inside the original selector, and the ampersand acts as a placeholder for this here. Sukuna, it's hard to say, but start with the JavaScript sooner rather than later, because you'll learn like things that you'd want to do with CSS, just a little bit of JavaScript manipulation, stuff like that can be good. All right, cool. So I think that's looking pretty good. Let's go on now to my login CTA button, which we want that to be a display. I was going to do it position of absolute. Just to take it out of the flow, it's going to have a background of white. Border 0 because we don't want one. Border radius of 1. 100 to make it a circle. Color will be black just so we can see it for now. The text, my fake arrow. Let's give it an inset. 5 pixels on the top, 5 pixels on the right, 5 pixels on the bottom, and auto on the left, and see if that works. It did not work. Did I do position? Did I not put everything in my form? Form, my button is in the form. Position. The fun of live coding. And this is anyone who watches my tutorials who like thinks I know what I'm doing. This is what a normal video. See, I made a mistake here because I don't have any. So all I'm doing now is I'm looking and I found my form, which is under my head. Let's switch back to this so I don't run into this problem again. Oops. That one? No. I'm so confused. Oh, I know what's wrong. There I am. was like, where'd my face go? There we go. Okay. Am I going to run out of space here? Okay, there we go. I can see everything I need. If I go and find this, all I'm doing is I went on my form and then I looked here and I don't see anything that I've put on it, which should be at the top. Even though if I look here, I'm pretty sure I did. So I made a typo somewhere in my selector. Login CTA input form. Oh, see, I put input CTA, not login. And I'm sure people in the chat were already telling me that. But I think it's good to show how I debug these things sometimes. There we go. We're on the big face mode again. So the other thing now, the problem is it's like off to the right. I'm gonna have to fix the size of it. I thought that was actually gonna size it properly. Width 100%. That's better. Cool. So that's much better. I'm going to actually, no, we can fix that after. My issue, let's try this. I don't know if this would work in Safari or not. So I'll explain what this is doing in a second. Let's just give this an aspect ratio of 1. It did work. Perfect. Look at that. So the reason, so aspect ratio is 1 is just the height and width will match each other. The inset, I'm doing 5 pixels from the top. So inset is a shorthand for top, bottom, left, and right. So I'm doing the distance from 5 pixels from the top, 5 pixels from the right, 5 pixels from the bottom. But then the auto here is basically saying don't set a left value. So then it's, by not setting the left value, it's hugging the right side. Yeah, cool. That worked better than I thought it would. Awesome. So one problem right now is the title is too small. So let's just come here. That was my .title. I guess I don't need the direct sibling combinator there, but we'll go with it anyway. Font size 2 rem or something. It already is 2 rem. Or I didn't select it, or it's not a direct child. I know I called it .title, didn't I? Oh, I did. I called it login title in the end. We're going to go with title. Oh, that's my ID. Whoops, login title can stay. Section title, aha, that makes more sense. Section title can stay, actually. Let's just see what that looks like. Now I broke it again. What? Justify content? Oh, I did justify content. Maybe somebody mentioned this when I did it. That should be in align items. No, align items is vertical. Justify, oh, justify items. Damn grid, justify items. There we go. Which sort of breaks my input, but that's okay. Even though this has a width of 100% on it. Min width, 100%. Really? It wants me to hard code a value here? Inputs are so weird. So maybe that wasn't the best solution? Let's just put 500 pixels for fun. Yeah, okay. Why doesn't 100%? Oh, I know why. Okay, this is the problem with using percentages for sizing stuff, because it's matching the size of the form. And because I did the center on there, the center is shrinking the form to as small as it can get, which is the size of the input. Because inputs have a minimum size on it. I guess if I put min width on here, min width, not width, if I, yeah, if I put a min width 0 there, it might shrink away completely. Min width of 0, it might just vanish. No? Okay, it doesn't. Probably because the width one, I don't know. There might be a weird connection there. But yeah, it's the size. So here, let's just, I have the form selected here already. If I said that is width 100%, we'd fix it. There's probably better ways of doing that. Now it's too big, but you get the idea. 80%. You muck around. We're magic numbering things a little bit, but whatever. Yeah, that's not bad. Let's take a little break. I'll check what's going on in the chat. Fabricio saying that you do a 9999 pixel for border radius. It's essentially the same as what I did. It's less characters what I'm doing, so that's why I do it that way. Yeah, any large number will make it a pill. How does the light dark function's a fun one, but I don't really need it. The min width fit content wouldn't work in this case. And it was just because the form was shrinking to match the width of the input, and then yeah, I think my percentages there make sense. NGU, why don't I do these live every day? Because I don't have time to do that. I don't see too many other stuff coming in, so I'm going to keep going. We just have the images left to do, really, and then we can make a little dark mode maybe for it. It's art. Wow, I've been doing this for longer than I thought. So the images, I'm just going to use. This is one thing. I'm gonna grab some images in another tab that I'll have off screen just to get them really fast. I code this. If I don't think Florin's still here. If you didn't know, Florin was here before. He's the one who created I code this and runs it. The one thing I love with CodePen is they have their little assets thing you can easily get to. So yeah, a little assets tab where you can just pull images in from Unsplash would be awesome. Person. So I'm just going to grab some small URLs of pictures here really fast. URL, there's one person. I'm not worried about them too much. They're not that small. I'm just grabbing the first ones I see to get some images. I'm also going to say if this was part of whenever I do these, they always come with a caveat that like on a larger project where there's more context, oops, I made a mistake on that one. I'd probably do things a little bit differently just because there's you have more reference of how things are going to be used, which can help. How to like setting the widths and everything I did there was probably not the best solution, but it works. So the line heights are ugly. The only line height that's a problem is the title, right? I mean, this is part of the talking about part of a reset. Usually I have like an H1, H2, H3, whoops. Anything that would have a large font size on it, and then just do a line height of 1.1 as a default, and then you play with it from there. No comma there would help. Even a 1 might be okay on that. Cool. And now we can go and style that up. So those images, did I give that a name? Oh, I did flex group and centered. Okay, there's a reason I called it flex group and centered here, is because usually the centered isn't usually how I use centered, but I usually have utility classes called the flex group, which will be a display of flex, a gap of 1 rem, and then I also do a flex wrap on that, usually flex wrap of wrap. In this case, it might not actually be the best thing, okay, let's just say we did that. Let's come back on these for a second. These images would probably get, what's the short? Yeah, it's that shortcut. These probably would get like a class of avatar or something like that. Because if this was part of a bigger project, you would have, I'm assuming the avatars would all look the same. And so again, I'm making assumptions, but let's come in with our avatar, which would be border radius once again, actually this time of 50% because we want it to be like that with an aspect ratio of 1 to make it a square or a circle. Max width, I don't know, or even these could probably have a hard width on them. Width of 100 pixels for now, just so we can see what that looks like. Object fit of cover. Are they too big? They might be too big. We'll do 75. So we can do something like that to get them in there. I might even do an avatars, something like that, just because we're going to have to move it or position it, or yeah, I think I'll do that. That's a little, anyway, yeah, okay, I'll talk about that in a second. So that's okay. And they all have the white border on them, right? And I think they have a box shadow on them too. So border is, it looked pretty thick, 5 pixels solid, var color, neutral white. We got the full autocomplete kicking in there, which we don't really need. except it got rid of my var. There we go. Perfect. That made them a bit smaller, right? So we'll boost that up. This is why I like the flex wrap, because it just keeps it responsive. The reason I did the centered is the idea here would be the flex group could then get, like if you have the centered on it, usually centered, I mean vertically centered. But we could say if it's a flex group that's also centered, we could do an align content of center. Just because, isn't that how that works? Or it's just a, there we go. And then it looks a little better. I don't know if this is actually going to work because since we need to drop it down anyway. We could shrink them, but I'm worried that when you shrink them, it's going to look really funky. So I sort of want them to break on multiple lines, I think. We said a box shadow on that too, right? We'll add one quick, even though we won't really see it with the dark background that we put, but box shadow, 0, 5 pixels, 0.5 rem. This is where I mix up pixels and rem. And we'll just do black for now, even though that's way too dark. Oh, so we can, no, I'll just do HSL. HSL is the easiest to get black, or actually RGB is easier. RGB, because you don't need units. White is easier with HSL, 0.3. There we go. Something like that's fine. So now we just need that. So that was my avatars. This is where nesting sort of makes sense, because this was my login CTA, and then I could choose my avatars. Like something like this where I want to shift it down. So we're just going to say margin bottom. And I'll talk about why I'm using margin here. Block end, right? I said I want to use logical properties. I'll talk some of my decisions here. Margin top of 1 rem or something, just to add some spacing there. So there's a few, I could have done this in a few different ways instead of doing it that way. But first, the nesting. You might have groups of avatars in other places. People talk about scope in CSS. Like I'm scoping this to my login CTA. It's probably the only place where you'd get something like this. This login CTA might just be a CTA, and you'd have this type of pattern repeated in other places. I don't know. So you do want to think about that a little bit. The reason I wanted to do, I guess the two choices, I could do the negative margin on there just to pull it down, which works, right? And people don't like negative margins. I find for stuff like this, they're fine. The other choice on it though is to then do a position of absolute to pull it out of the flow. Which I guess could work too, but the problem with pulling it out of the flow here is like, oh, maybe the spacing's the same though. Okay, we'll do it that way, because it will actually be easier to get it centered. But if I do that, I need more padding to match the design a bit better. But then we can say it's a bottom of 0, which means my login CTA needs a position. Did I never log in CTA? We'll just put it up here. Position relative. I'm all over the place. Sorry for scrolling up and down a lot. Here we go. So this is easier to get it centered because then you can just do a translate of negative 50%, 50%, 0, 50%, positive translation. Actually, we need that a little bit more. So I know this is where if you had more custom properties set up, it could be more useful too. 0.5 rem, just because I know that the thickness of that like outer outline is 1 rem. So I want it 50% down of its own height plus half the distance of that other thing here. And then I know it's perfectly centered in that space. And then we'll scroll all the way back up. And as I said, the padding here, I guess, would actually be bigger. I'm going to leave 3 on the right and left because I think that's pretty big. And then we'll say that it's like a 5 rem, I guess, on the top and bottom. And there we go. We could come in with some styling of this for like different states and everything. And I could find an icon, but I'm not going to stress too much about that. This is sort of what I wanted to focus on. Oh, let's see. The negative margin would also cause issues once it starts wrapping anyway. I think that's true. I didn't think of that issue. So maybe the negative margin makes more sense. Let's just see. It's so broken now anyway. So let's I forgot. I'm like, oh, I want it to wrap, and then I forgot. It's probably, I guess that makes more sense actually. Yeah. And can we do it the problem with this, I wish we could get like its own height the same way we can with translates. But let's, right. Whoops. Wait, what? Why is the 6 rem? Oh, I know why. Turn off that for a second. Yeah, we've gone too far. It's still gonna, once we get past a certain point, we can't like, yeah, like it's causing problems because the top won't pull further away because of how, what if I did align self end? Ah, there we go, that fixes it. It was because we were in a grid context, so it was causing like the cell to stretch out, so the entire element was stretching. So align self prevents that problem from happening. Yeah, now with the larger margins, I don't know. We had to play around. It becomes very like magic numbery to get that to line up, but I guess it does work better once they start wrapping. And we'd have to play with that a little bit. Like at this size, it doesn't really work that well. Maybe less padding on the left and the right would fix that. Yeah, okay. That shows another reason why the negative margin is probably a better solution though. Cool. Hide the images that are wrapping. That would be really, unless I said I mean, we could. To do that, you'd want to set a height of, I don't know how big they are. Do I? Oh, 80. 80 pixels. And then overflow Y clip. Would that work? Ooh, it does work. Look at that. I prefer clip over hidden now. Clip is my new default. Hidden would probably also work though. The problem with hidden is it changes, even if I'm changing the overflow Y to hidden, the X is actually going to change to auto, and vice versa. You can't change one without changing the other to auto, but with clip you do. So clip is my new default, and if clip doesn't work for what I want, then instead of using clip, I will use instead of using clip, I'll use hidden if whatever I'm doing doesn't actually work. Oh, that could work too. Yeah, at small screens, the images come on the side instead, since we have more vertical space. That could definitely work. I don't want to limit the width of this. Cause I saw somebody mentioning like give this a minimum size. It raises way too much chance of overflow issues coming in. My first thing I would do to improve that would be the padding on the left and the right. We'll do it with I'm gonna do a clamp. Clamp left and right of, let's say 1 rem. We'll do the CQs again. I was having trouble with it before, and then we said 3 for the larger size. So it's smaller here. So it's still not perfect, but at least the padding's a lot smaller, and we can get to a pretty decent size before we start losing that. And I think it's still pretty obvious what it's doing, plus it's only the placeholder. So that's an option for sure though. But the only other thing that could happen there is you start causing overflows, which I wouldn't want to happen. If I styled the form and not the input, what issues would I not be running into? V1. Limit, cool. So yeah, that was a fun one. Nothing too challenging there. If any people have general CSS questions, I'll take some in a second. I think what I'm going to do really, Okay, let's just see if I do this. If I switch this to a light theme, does it break anything? Oh, look at that. There's a problem that we didn't notice because we couldn't see my shadows because I put the clip on there. So that could be fixed just by boosting up the height a little bit. It's kind of be like 90 pixels. It's kind of hacky-ish a little bit, but whatever. And that, I don't know if that mucked up the centering of it though. So you might have to play around more with the sizes. That's breaking more things because of the height. Yeah, align items and start. I need it on the start so we don't lose. Why does, oops, align items on the start so we keep the shadows on the bottom. There we go. That fixes it. The reason for that is because my avatars is also a flex group, right? I was looking for my display flex there. I did it within like the flex group here. So display flex means they're stretching. So when I changed the height to be bigger than the children, it was stretching them. So I needed the align items of start there so it wouldn't stretch, and it has to be start because if it's on the bottom, then the drop shadow is getting clipped because we use clip along the way there. German Soto, the main use cases I have for CH are generally for limiting line lengths of text. I know some people who like using it for padding as well. Can you truncate the placeholder so it doesn't overlap with the button? I don't think so. The button overlapping, but I would need the button to overlap, right? Like that's, I'm just following the, oh, you're saying that's the form. I see what you're saying. You'd style the entire form. I mean, you'd still get the text would just get truncated in a different way. Instead of going underneath, you would just sort of like lose the side of it, right? Jean-Louis, how I got good. My secret is years of writing it and teaching it. It's not very good secret, but that's what it is. The text color looks dark now. Yeah, I switched the sorry, let's go find it again. Because I switched the color scheme to light, the default values for the colors changed. Just because I was playing with that before. So I could hard code in the white color there for that. It looks pretty good on a dark theme though. I'll stick with that for now. Oh, for the right arrow, we can use that. The problem with the text overflow ellipsis is I won't see it because I could use that. Does it work for placeholders? Actually, it would cause a bit of a problem because if you're writing something, I guess you could write underneath it and you don't see what you're writing. So yeah, should we fix that? We can fix that a little bit because even the ellipsis right now would show up underneath the button. So, okay, we'll fix that. I wasn't going to, but where's my input? Button input. So I can take that off. Let's take that off for now. Whoops. I did an undo that I didn't want to undo. That's my button, my input. We can take all of this off. We'll do background is transparent, and we'll say border is 0. Which has broken my button, so we might have to do something to fix that as well. But we'll just come here, and I'm just pasting all the values that I had for the input onto the form instead. So we do have so the width 80% I can take off now. Oh, we actually want a width of 80% then. Cool. So 80%. Oh, because of the text align center. So here, this would just get a text align start. There we go. So yeah, it's still going to go underneath. Oh, is that better or worse? So on my input, let's say the max width of the input is 80%. So that means it will stop there. instead, which is probably a little bit better actually. And then you could even, if you knew the size of your button, you could probably fix that. Is it text? Oh, I don't know if I'd want text overflow ellipsis. Does it work? Oh, it does work. I don't know if I'd want that on an input. Like if you're writing your email address in there. Oh, it would still sort of work. And then when you go, okay, we can do that. There we go. We'll stick with that. I think we'd want some padding and stuff. Like this looks weird with the way the outline is. So we could probably fix that a little bit. So it looks, okay, we'll fix that actually. Never ever do this. I'm going to say an outline of none. You generally don't want to do that because you want to keep an outline on things. Outline of none is an anti-pattern. You need to replace it with something if you're going to do this. So what I'm going to replace it with is on my form, we're going to say that on the form, if we have focus within, we can say that the outline is 3 pixels solid white. So if I have something, now I'm adding a focus state to the area that looks like the input. So that's the only time you want to do an outline of none, is if you're replacing it with something else that's going to make it obvious where the focus is. Clism asking, what about the text overflow only for the placeholder? I don't know if that would work. We could try it, but I sort of don't mind if you come in with a long email address. I put max width. We're just going to say, we're on the right place. We're going to say this is actually just the width and not the max width. So if you come in with a long email address and then you click out, I don't mind the ellipsis showing up afterwards. I think that's okay because it's not actually being cut off. There we go. And then we have that coming in there. Perfect. Caleb asking if we can have JavaScript tutorials like these. If you'll have to find someone else to do it. Awesome. Cool. So I'm actually pretty happy with how that turned out. We're going to jump on over. If people have just general questions, we can definitely do those. Does tab index work? Does tab index work for what? I guess my question would be. NGU, how much CSS is enough? The least amount that you need. Diego, I'm starting to study Tailwind right now, and I'm big sad that most of what I learned about CSS is being put aside. Well, everything you learned about CSS shouldn't be getting put aside, because Tailwind is just another way to author CSS. So unless you're using like Catalyst or like their frameworky things, I don't think anything's actually getting put aside. It's just a different way to author it. I'm not a big fan of using it myself, but I get why it's used. But yeah, it's just the more you know CSS, the better you will be at using Tailwind. Yeah, you can tab here for sure. Focus within will work. No problem. And I can tab to my button. I probably want to put a better focus state on the button, just to make it obvious when you've got onto there. But Sebastian, can I make a dashboard? Not today. I do get lots of requests for dashboards, so maybe one day we'll do it, but they're so long to make. Drizzle, I want to make a 3-card layout, but between these, I want to have lines with a little padding so the lines don't touch each other. But how do I fix this responsive? Oh, yeah. So eventually, okay. Eventually, we're probably going to have a way to decorate grid gaps. Right now, we don't, though. Sarah, I'll answer this first because it's easier. Saras Raman, is there a way to style option tag? Not really, no. They're very, very, very limited. That's why we're getting a new element that's going to allow us. Oh, sorry about that. That's loud. I apologize. Hey. Sorry. Sorry. Sorry, but I thought I muted there and I paused my recording instead. So it wasn't muted. Sorry about that. But yeah, what were we talking about? Yeah, we're getting a new element eventually to be able to make things more stylable. The other one, okay, the 3-card layout. So let's open up a CodePen. One option if you needed to style something like that. No, it wouldn't really work. No, it wouldn't work. I was gonna say you can use columns, right? Because let's just do div times 3. That's fine. Or we'll do paragraph. Yeah, whatever. It doesn't matter what I put with lorem inside each one of them. You could do, let's just delete all that, columns of 3. And then we have column gap 3 rem. I don't remember. How do you decorate it? I haven't done. Column rule 3 pixels solid red. Right? So we do have this right now. It works. It's responsive. If you want it to always be 3 columns, that's fine. If you want it to be responsive in terms of like this, you'll notice is if there's no column rule, it's breaking. It only decorates the column. We have CSS has this ability, so they are talking about bringing this to grid, but we don't have it yet. Yeah, so that would be cool if we could, but we can't do that yet. NGU, I'm probably doing a monthly stream, not a weekly stream. I don't have a portfolio website anymore, no. I have my website that needs it very much. If you go to, it's kevinpowell.co. It needs an update. I don't even, let's go look at it. That's fine. We don't need to save that. My hair is the wrong color there. Does this say how long? Where's the YouTube? No, it doesn't even say how many. Does this say how many people I have? No, I think I took off the mention of how many subscribers I had because I just didn't feel like updating it anymore. But I don't have like an official portfolio type thing anymore. This stream will be available to watch later, yeah. Height transitions are coming. It's in Chrome Canary right now. It uses, I can't do it right now, but you're gonna be able to do this. This is, oh, I have Chrome Canary. Let's see if we can get it working. I've never tried using it. I don't even know if I remember what the thing is to get it to work. Let me just bring this in. It's the wrong size. 1 second. And we'll open a CodePen here before I do anything else. I know you can't see what I'm doing right now. CodePen. I'm probably not logged in, but that's okay. No, it's okay. 1 second. Pen.new. Let's see if we can get this working. Let me switch this over to this. So let's say we have an element, and let's make the font size. My kids just got home, so they might start causing problems. Element here. Oh wow, the font size is so small by default. I should log in. But let's just say my element has a background color of pink and a height of 500 pixels. I zoomed in a lot. 200 pixels. Okay. What we should be able to do, hopefully this works. Say we do element hover, height auto. Yeah, height auto. Let's go to my here. Let's just add a bit of content. Lorem 10. So we have some text in there. Perfect. Okay. So I don't remember how you do this. We want to transition the height. Transition would be height. We'll say 1 second. So right now that's not going to work, right? It just does this when I hover because we can't transition to height auto. This would be, is it calc size auto? Is that all it is? Ah, that's it. Yes. Cool, right? And that works. So this is coming. The other two browsers have said they're on board with this spec. They're happy with it. So that's how it's going to work. The reason this is cool, and the reason we have calc size, and you might be like, this is stupid. I just want to be able to get to height auto, but you can do this. 200 pixels. And so it's, oh, that's not working. I was told you could do math in here. Maybe it doesn't work yet. I was told you could do math in here. I hadn't tried it, as you can see. We'll have to see. But I think you're able to do like a max content, a fit content, and other stuff with calc size as well. So it takes fit content, max content, min content, auto. But I thought we could do math. Right now it's not working with the math. But just the fact that it works is amazing and something that people have wanted for a long time now. Animating a background like Shopify does, probably a canvas with some sort. Well, it depends on how intensive it is, but the problem with any hard, you could do like gradients and other stuff as well, but you need that property to do that properly. Yeah. Sammy, you want to learn web full time for 1 year? Is that enough to get a job? Maybe. It's so hard to say because so many people get to different places after 1 year. Like giving a time frame is always really hard to say. It potentially can be for sure. Min, as far let's look it up. Calc size should be able to take calc size CSS. I don't know how much we're gonna get on it because, as I said, this is probably from the spec. It is. This is URL to the spec. Here we go. Reading the spec is always fun. Did I go too far? I think I did. Calc size. The intrinsic size keyword production matches intrinsic size allowed, for example, width. It matches auto, min content. Oh, we have stretch as well, yeah. Why can calc size be nested? Allowing calc size as the basis arguments means that authors can use a variable as the basis. Like, so you can use a custom property. Yeah, you will be able to do math in here eventually. And it'll always work as long as the variable was originally valid for that property. Doing the same with calc doesn't work. For example, min content size plus 20 pixels, or even just min content thing fails. The nesting is simplified away at computed value time, so the basis always ends up as a single keyword by the time blah blah blah. If two arguments are given, the first is the calc size basis and the second is the calculation. Oh, I need a basis and then a calculation. If a calc sum is given, it must resolve to a length. If only one is given and it's a calc sum, then the provided argument, this is where I'm waiting for someone to write this for MDM so we can actually understand what's happening. If only one argument is given and it's a calc sum, then the provided argument is the calc size calculation, and calc size basis defaults to any. Otherwise, the provided argument is the calc size basis and the calc size calculation defaults to size. I don't know. I'm going to wait a little bit to dive into this a bit more. But it even talks about why they didn't just use calc and gives examples and everything else. But yeah, we will be able to do different stuff here. I'm going to have to play with it. I'm not going to dive any more into it right now. Let me switch this back over to the other window I had open. Just because I don't want to be in Canary if we don't need to be. One of the problems with calc size is it only works if one side of the transition is non-auto. I don't think it's possible to transition from auto to accommodate dynamically added content. That I have no idea. I guess it would probably not. I don't know, but like how would it animate to do it for dynamically added content anyway? Like, does the content get added and then it has to animate there, but are you hiding that content? Is like, I think that would be kind of complicated and just run into issues. So there might be a reason why they don't do something like that. Is it possible to adopt something if it goes smaller or bigger? Oh, for the font size changing too. Yeah, I don't know. Okay, Min saying, let's try. Oh, I just closed the window. I'm not going to try now, but if you want to play around with calc size a little bit, you guys can go for it. Oh, Restaman, yeah, that might be what you'd want. Like a single page view transition stuff might be better for what you guys are talking about for animating an individual element if the content of that element is changing. That's probably more of a view transition thing. Yeah. The best way to learn CSS, I think, is once you get past like getting through the fundamentals of it and understanding the basics of it, and then just building lots of stuff. And then look when you get stuck, like, why isn't this working? How do I do this? You look it up. It might be different, but it gives you the knowledge you need to be able to do it. The more you get stuck and find solutions to things, the better you at, the more you will learn. It's always gonna be like that. Cool. So here's the next thing I had planned for this, which is the HTML tag. Apparently this was making the rounds and I just missed out on the boat completely. There are 114 HTML tags. I'm going to try and get through as many of them as I can on my own, and then I'm going to come to the chat to fill in the blanks. We'll do some of the ones we were just looking at. Or let's start with the HTML tag. We have the body tag, the head tag. Sort of working my way from outside to in. I wonder if doc type counts. Doc type? No, it's not counting that. Okay. HTML body. Okay, so let's go to the head. We have a title. We have a meta. We have link. We have a. We'll put that too. I'm going to forget some of the stuff that you put in the head for sure. So many of them are meta tags though, so maybe we're okay. Okay. I guess I'm for sure forgetting some stuff. I did body, so we have our main, header, footer. What else do we have? Paragraph, H1, H2, H3, H4, H5, H6. We did a, span, div, strong, M, I, B. 91 still left to do. This is going to get hard to remember which ones I've put in. Okay. Oh, we have style tags because those go in the head. We have, I'm trying to think of more stuff that goes in the head before I keep going. Script. Okay, that's my content. We just did inputs, a whole bunch of them. When input, we have a text area. We have a select. We have the option. We have a button. All the form stuff is coming through now. Select, text area, input. I'm probably forgetting one of those now. Uh-oh. Okay. Content ones. Go back to there. We had main, header, footer. We have aside. We have sections. Aside, section. Oh my god, I'm terrible at this. Aside, section. Oh, we have date time. No? Isn't it date time? Is it just date? Or is that... No, it's not an input type, isn't it? Oh no, time. Aha, okay. Time has the date time attribute on it, if I'm remembering correctly. Strong, M. I did span. Does this count blink? No. Center? No, okay. Not counting the deprecated ones. Marquee, just for fun, just in case. So it's not taking them if they're deprecated, which is good. Oh my goodness. S is 1 for strike through. Okay. I did my aside. I did the aside, my section. There must be more. Oh, a nav. Oh, UL, OL, LI, A's we did already. DL, DT, table. Oh, I have to remember the table ones. Table row, table data, tabular data, T head, T foot. I'm probably forgetting some of the stuff you can do in a table because I don't use them often enough. Table, table row, the row, the cell, the head, the foot. I don't remember any others. I'm at 45. How many are left? 69. Um, How much longer do I go before I look at the chat? I can see it moving out of the corner of my eye, and I don't want to look at it yet. I'm sure people are yelling at me. Oh, we have buttons. Did I not? Oh, I did button already. Darn it. Does SVG count? Oh, SVG counts good. Does path count then? No, okay. The stuff that goes in an SVG doesn't count. That's good. Because I would forget a bunch then. I feel like I'm forgetting so many of the semantic ones though, which is kind of embarrassing. Oh, does H group? H group? Yes. H group is there, so that's good. H group is if you, it doesn't really do anything yet, but if you need to like group heading stuff, it's good. What else do I have? Wow, this is harder than I thought it would be. I thought I'd get like at least 70 of them pretty quickly, and then the last bunch would be really hard to do. I'm going to try and get to 50 before I look at the chat. Span div strong MIB. I did my paragraphs. I did my list items. I did links. Yeah, my A is there. I'm so embarrassed right now. Is there things I put? I was trying to think of more inputs, but all the ones I'm thinking of are just like input type, whatever. Navua, DT. Oh, oh, no, dialogue's the only one I can think of there, actually. Dialogue. I was hoping that would unlock some. Dialogue is good. What's the other one that's like dialogue? What's not like a dialogue? We have the summary. Details, that's it. Details. That's what I was thinking of. Dialogue, details, details and summary. I'm stuck again. I said I'd want to get to 50. I think I should be able to get more, but I'm going to look at the chat. Oh, yeah, okay. I saw video. So we have picture, we have video. Audio. That's a few extras. Ooh, Mark, I definitely wouldn't have remembered Mark. Thank you for that. HR, site. Oh, block quote, of course. Oh, with that too, figure, fig, caption. Is there another thing? No, I think it's just figure and fig caption, right? Did I not do section? I did section. Okay, good. Oh, code, pre. That was kind of silly. I forgot those. I use them all the time. I forgot form. I was putting in all the form things and I forgot to put form. I forgot image as well. Oh my goodness. I've just put picture and I never put image. BR, text area. I think I got text area, right? Yeah, I got text area. We can make this a bit bigger for everybody. I should have zoomed in earlier. I'm sorry. BR and oh, sub and sup are good. Sub, sup. T body. There we go. T body. What's the code snippet one copy logo called? I'm not sure. Ooh, canvas. Yeah. Thank you, Mark. Canvas. Div, I'm sure I did div already, right? Yeah, okay, good. Iframe is definitely one I forgot. Legend as well. And oh, legend means I also forgot field set, because those go together. Ooh, does no script? Ah, nice. That one I definitely would have forgot. Thanks, V1. Source set isn't, that's an attribute, not, oh, the source is though, yeah. Source goes up for the source set. ABBR is a good one for abbreviation. I like that it's actually an abbreviation. KBD I never would have remembered either. Thank you for that one. Style I did. Oh, embed. I did the data list already, but I didn't do an embed. LeBron James. I feel like my kids are watching. Script I definitely have. Oh, I forgot the DD. Yes. UL, OL, LI I got. Pre I have. Span. Oh, I didn't do label either. Thank you. M I did with the strong, right? I think I got M. Yeah. Canvas, I got it. Oh, the del, yes. You think I would have got del with the S, because they're sort of similar-ish. Time I got. Oh, input and I did input for sure. Output. I don't use it. I did once on a live stream though. Use output. I think that was only on Twitch though. I tried the doc type. It didn't take it. Oh, is it because I did it like that though? Let's just try doc type like this. No, okay. Oh, meter and progress. There we go. Meta I got. Oh, you. I didn't do you. I got the other ones from those old school ones. I knew I was missing one. I got the DT and the DL already. Oh, the base. Thank you. I think I added block quote. Yeah, we got block quote a while ago. Did I not put site? I thought I did site, but I might not have. I did. Okay. Marker. I got section. Marquee wasn't accepted. I think I did the sup and the sub. Yeah. Did I not do link? No, I already got it. Thanks, Thomas, though. Oh, I did the del and I didn't do the ins. Oh, article. Oh my goodness. How did I forget article? When I knew I said it, I'm forgetting some of the semantic ones. Path doesn't work, I think, because it's not an HTML element, it's an SVG element. Iframe and no script I've both done. Call group, is that from tables? Yep. Frame set and frame as well. Frame set. No, frame though? No. Okay. It's not going that old school. TH I already did, I think, right? I didn't do TH. I thought I did TH already. I added form recently. Paragraphs I have. I think I did title. Yes, I did. Yeah, 86 to get to articles, kind of embarrassing. Map is one I never would have thought of. Wow, there's how many more still? 25 still. Oh, I didn't do search either, yeah. T-body, I think I did. Yeah. HR I got. Text area I got BMTR. TR? BR? I have BR. Strike I did, because that's the S, right? I don't think there's a strike. Yeah. Option group up. Opt group I didn't do. SAMP I didn't do. Script I have now. Thank you for the option group. Oh, template. Yeah. Link I definitely have. Data list I have. Oh, did I not do small? Oh, look at that. I didn't do small. Summary I have, because I did, I did detail summary at the same time as dialogue. There's 114, I think it was. I should have put this in the chat if anybody wants to try it on their own another time. Figure and field set I've got. Object. Nice. No script we have. Radio is an attribute on an input. So I think I did both code and pre. Yeah, we've done those ones. Section I have, strong I have all the headings. I have KBD only because somebody recommended it. Call. I did not have, thank you. Var. Look at that. Picture I got. Text area we have. There's a call group too. Oh, I already had call group, but I didn't have call. Oh, the call group's there, yeah. Oh, Ruby. I should have thought of the KBD. I'm surprised I didn't think of the Ruby. Embed I got. Aside I have. Picture I have. Oh, slot. Slot works. Did I not do canvas? I did it. Okay, good. Menu I should have thought of. Menu is very underused. Oh, WBR is a good one too. I'm at scroll up or down, Mark? I have BR, Armin. BR. Meter I have. Center doesn't work. It's deprecated, so they don't have any of the old ones. Doc type, they don't take it. Is math a comment? I didn't even know math was an element. I don't think comments count because I'm not putting in, like, it's not really an element, it's a comment, right? Progress I have. Del I have. No frames. What's a track? There's a few elements here that I've definitely have never used. Acronym. We have ABBR for abbreviation. Is there an acronym one? Menu tag is a lot like the a nav, but it's for a menu. You probably want to use a nav if it's something that's going to go in it. I'm trying to think of an example of a menu that would actually be a menu instead of just being a nav. There definitely are examples of them, but they're not super common. Like a menu that would you'd select stuff from. Oh, did I don't think I did address yet. Nice. Audio I definitely did. No script we have. Yeah, like a menu would take a list. I think a menu is weird though because it takes a list the same way a nav would, but I don't think it actually has any. Or you do a menus instead of an OL. I think. I don't use it often. Menu HTML. So I think you do it. Yeah. So you have your menu and then you just put the list items inside of it. It gets treated like an unordered list. Specification as a semantic alternative to a UL, but is treated by browsers and exposed to the accessibility tree no different than a UL, so it's basically just a UL. Template, I think I did. Yeah. We don't have an email, do we? Okay, good. BDO I just put in, or BDI, I mean, is BDO? There we go, okay. KBD I have, button I have, site I have. Did I not put caption? I didn't. Oh, what about, I'm forgetting something else I think that goes with your images. Edu, yeah, it's a UL for interactive stuff. The only problem is it's not used, like it doesn't actually provide much value to it being used. I've already done insert. I've already done div, don't worry. Track I already have. Selected. Do you think it has like new stuff? Select menu? Probably not, right? No. Site I have. T-foot I think I did. Yeah. Legend I definitely. With RP? What's RP? RT? I don't even know what those are. TH I have. Call I have. Output I have. Oh, did I not do definition? I didn't. There's a few of these where it's like I should have thought of that. Like when I did ABBR, I probably should have thought of DFN. Param. Time I have. HR, I think I did. Yeah. I definitely had the main. The option group I have. Oh, base font. No, okay, it's not a thing anymore. Center 2 is deprecated. How many are we missing? 4. Oh yeah, 100. There's 114 in total. Area and map. I already had map, but I didn't have area. Thank you. Styles we've done. I and B I've done. I think I did the meter. Yeah. RTC. Nope. Q. Oh, I didn't do Q. Quote. I did block quote, but I didn't do the Q. Thank you for that. I did source, I think. Yeah. Iframe I did. Yeah. Text area, I'm pretty sure I did. Param? Nope. Doesn't like param. Object I already did. Iframe I did. Lang's an attribute. Data lit. Oh. I was thinking DL, but we're missing 1. Oh my goodness. I think I did. Yeah, we've done map. I can't believe we're only missing 1. I'm just gonna anything somebody says in the chat at this point. I wish, yeah, I could zoom out, but like I'm missing 1, so it's gonna be obscure. BDI I've done. Keygen? No. Track I did, I think, yeah. Call and call group I just, yeah, I've done both of those. ATTR doesn't like it. No frames, no. Use, nope. Progress, I think I got it. Yeah, I did. SAMP, we already did. DFN, I did it recently. Pre, I've already done. Base, we've done. I have done. Ins, I've done. Whoops, don't want to save the page. Object, we've already got it. The doc type, it won't take doc type. Oh, okay. If it worked there, because I was putting this in the front before, I would have lost my mind. Why is like 5 people said H7 so far? Ruby I've done. S I've done. Fig caption nav I've done. Fig, I think. I'm just writing them in now at this point. Span, did we forget something really dumb? Base I have. Fig caption. We're going to be 1 short. We're not going to get there. U I did. Code I definitely did. I could scroll slowly. We'll go to the top and I'll go slowly down. And if anybody thinks of something. Marquee I tried. It doesn't work. Is BG sound an element? Time I've definitely done. Symbol I don't think will work. O? Is O an element? No, okay. Field set I did. Oh, I saw video there. I think I did video though, right? I did audio. Did I not do video? I'd be very mad at myself if I didn't do video. Okay, good. I didn't remember having written it. Picture I've definitely done. Yeah, picture, video, audio we did at the same time. I don't have strong I did with the B, M. Yeah, BG sound is definitely not an element. I did do map, yeah. Command? No. Copy? No. TH I think I did, yeah. Data list I did recently. Map I've done. Search I've done. Meter I've done. Yeah. T-foot I've definitely done. Did I forget button? I'm pretty sure I did button, right? Yeah, okay. If it's one of those really easy ones, I'm going to lose my mind. That might be it. No, okay. Dirt. I'm sure I did link. Yeah, I already did link. I think it was really early on. Data. It was data. We got it. Thank you, everybody. We made it. that was painful a little bit. We got all of them though. I was hoping for like some confetti or something. one block missing from the Death Star Lego set. Yeah, exactly. Oh, there we go. I bet you some people said data before and I saw something like date or something and I didn't get it. Cool. All right. We've been at this for a while. Thank you all for your help. That was that was fun. Cool. I'm gonna go back to this for a second. And I'm just gonna pull up my Notion document. I'm gonna look at something. And do I want to do that? Thanks, Ryan. Did I miss someone else's super chat? Because I just saw something saying that's the third super on live stream. So if I did miss yours while I was doing other stuff, I do apologize. Cool. Now explain them all. I could explain a lot of them. There's definitely some that I didn't know in there. Well, let's look really quickly. I'm not going to go in and I know I'm not on screen. I remembered. This one? Okay. I'm not going to go over obvious ones like the ones at the beginning that I did. Let's stop. So I and B I don't use very often anymore, but there are times. They actually do have semantic meaning now. They took the semantic meaning away from them when they introduced strong and M, and then they brought it back. So B is bring attention to, and I forget what I is for though. What does I stand for now? MDM, I, HTML. Idiomatic text. Yeah, I wouldn't remember that. Did they strip the semantics from it? And I'm just misremembering. I think they did though, right? And then they added the semantics sort of back to it. They have semantic meaning, but they're not like strong, which strong and M will like change how these actually mean more. Whereas those, if you need bold text without it, you just want it bold without it actually having more importance, use B. Option button aside. So, time is one that people don't use enough. It's a little bit weird though, because if you want to use it properly, you have to give it the date time attribute, and for that you need your time. But you're probably getting your times from JavaScript anyway, so it's easy enough to use that and then use the date time, because that takes the ISO version of the date time attribute takes the ISO version of it. But I mean, this could even be good for for SEO if your articles are new. But it's good, like if you have a publish date on a blog post, use the time element. It makes sense. S is for strike through text, so when you cross your text out. Table, we're not going to get into. So yeah, H group, I sort of mentioned it, but if you have like a heading in a paragraph that's more like a subheading, technically it should go in with the H. You do an H group, you put your heading and then you put your paragraph, or your paragraph and then your heading, and it will treat the paragraph like a subtitle. It just doesn't work correctly yet, or it doesn't really do anything yet, but you might as well use it. Dialogues are cool. Details, summary work well together. Well, they work well together. They go together. Picture, video, audio. Mark is if you want to highlight text, right? If I'm remembering that correctly. So yeah, I don't know what the semantic meaning behind mark is. Like if it actually changes anything semantically or not, or if it's just used for visually highlighting text. RP and RT, I have no idea what they are. We'll get to that in a second. Maybe someone in the chat can tell us. Math, I'm guessing I don't use it, but like if you ever see like actual math equations where you need like no one, it's like the crazy math equations that I don't understand when I look at it, I'm guessing you would put that inside a math element, but I don't know for sure. Cite, block quote sort of go together. Fig caption, code, pre, form is sub and sup, like your text that's higher and lower, but it's like sup, can't remember the right word for it, but it makes the little text up and the sub makes the little number that goes down. Legend is used with field set. So you have a field set that has like all your radio buttons, and then the legend would be like the name of what all those radio buttons are for, type of thing. ABBR is abbreviation. And in the ABBR, there's an attribute that I forget what it is, but you'd use that to give the long form of it. And then actually, let's look at that one because that one's a cool one. Pen.new, just because, why am I so zoomed in? There we go. If we do an ABBR title, there we go. So let's just say cascading style sheets. And then here you put CSS. I'm sure people have seen this and not realized it. It gives you like the dotted underline that you can see there. And then if I hover on top, it gives me the, oh, you can't see the tooltip in my recording though. I see a tooltip popping up. Let's change to the other face. This one. I think now you'll see it. There we go. You can see my face. Oh, you can also see a project I'm working on in the background. Let's go back to that one. So yeah, abbreviation is kind of cool because it gives that little tooltip automatically. Oh, that's why it was zoomed in. This is a code pen. KBD, what is KBD? I've never used, I've seen it. What's it used for? Keyboard input element. That's why I've seen it. I have used it. Yeah. That makes more sense. When you want to give the fake keyboard look to show its keyboard presses people should be doing. Haven't used that. I don't use it enough, obviously. Any other weird ones here? Meter in progress, people probably don't use a lot, but it's not used too often. Legend has a bug with display flex. Yes, it does. I don't remember exactly what it is. So the math is for the math ML stuff, yeah, which is the weird things, right? RT is for Ruby annotations, which is what latex. That's the one I was thinking of. Thank you. RT for Ruby annotations. So yeah, I don't get into that. But you have the Ruby, and then I guess it's the RT, and there's probably another one there too. Yeah, don't avoid tables if you're putting together something that should be a table, but do avoid tables for things for layout. Subscript and superscript. Thank you so much, John. That was really frustrating. Christian Kirk. Hi. So yeah, Ruby is for, well, we had the RT there to the one with Ruby, right? We saw menu before. It's like an OL, but for interactive stuff. The white space break. When you're telling words where they can break if there's not enough room. So if you have a long word, you can put that in the middle of it, and then if the space gets smaller, it will wrap the text wherever you've put that. I think I'm getting that one right. BDI and BDO I haven't used, I don't think. Bidirectional, oh, and that was the other one too, was the directional one. Bidirectional isolate element. Bidirectional algorithm to treat text. It contains an isolation from its surrounding text. It's useful when a website dynamically inserts some text and doesn't know the directionality of the text being inserted. So yeah, it's useful if you're switching between right to left and left to right languages, but they have to be mixed together by the looks of it, which is why I haven't used it, because I don't do very much that involves mixing them. There we go. Yeah, tables can still be useful if you're doing email. That is correct. Luckily, I don't have to do emails. Am I going to do more JavaScript on the channel? I don't have any plans to, except for bringing guests in. Or, I mean, if it's a random project I'm working on where it makes sense, then I will. And what do I think about HTMX? I haven't used it enough to have a strong opinion about it, but I don't. There's stuff about it that I think is cool, and then there's parts of it that I'm not. I don't know. It sort of bugs me a little bit, sort of having everything there, I guess, if you know what I mean. But yeah, I think it's a cool idea and something I probably should play with more before I form a strong opinion about it. Mark, thanks for hanging out. It was, yeah. Community, yes, I plan on doing more community challenges. I just have to create them. One of these days I will, maybe once I'm back. I'm leaving on for Saturday for a little, well, I'm going to be speaking at that conference and we're doing a little family vacation. Leo Zeno bring in more SCSS videos instead of JavaScript. That could potentially happen. Community challenges and a pint night. We could do those together as one thing. Is it Caleb? Happy birthday. May HTMX is using JavaScript underneath it, yeah. All right, so I think I was thinking about doing another challenge before I left, but it's already 4 o'clock where I live, and I don't know if I'm gonna have time to do another one. Remco, if you're doing that, where you have a lot of variables in a separate file, and then import them, I think the best way to do it still is to use something like post CSS that will do it as a preprocessor. Don't forget to submit my challenge. Okay. I feel like I need to fix it up a little bit though. I'll save. I'm gonna fix it a little bit, I think, before I hit submit on it. Okay, I guess. Okay, 2 questions. I'll let you. Can I do a poll in here? Q&A start. Oh, I can do a Q&A in here too. I'm gonna start a poll in a second. Did I change my opinion about Masonry Grid after the CSS Day talk? My main opinion is what Rachel Andrew said, in that we should solve the problem of the ordering of stuff and how that's going to get handled before we implement Masonry. I think that makes a lot of sense, and then worry about Masonry. My main opinion is that I don't want to lose a lot of the functionality that the Safari team keeps talking about. If they can implement that in like a grid only way, and it's not a pain for them to like if a good feature comes to grid and then they also want that, is it going to slow things down if they have to implement it twice? Is always my main worry. You don't like my arrow? I copied a code we could, what's an HTML entity thing that we could put there, and then I never pasted it, so I probably lost that from my clipboard by now. But I definitely agree that I have to do that. But I'm going to start a little poll here. Can I change the answers? Let's find out. I've never done a poll in one of these. Fix the challenge. Oh, that one might be. Is that really? Can I really do that? I like the ones they make easier. Where's my button? Whoop. Why did it copy that? There we go. So when they do these that are like right arrow, so I guess that's left arrow. Like I love when they make them easier like that. Oops, we need the R there. And now it's not centered. Okay, fix the challenge or talk about Flexbox and grid. So I'm going to say this is fix the challenge. And then this one is Flexbox. There. Okay, so I'm going to start a poll and you guys can vote because I'm only going to do about another 30 minutes. So fixing the challenge would involve like centering that, doing a light dark mode for it because right now the light mode's sort of broken a little bit. And maybe just mucking around and improving upon what we have here. I want to add a better focus state. We could do some better form validation, not form validation, but like hinting and stuff. Or I can do some Flexbox and grid talk and go on a little mini rant at the same time. So I'll let you guys decide which one you want. I think I started the poll. There we go. And I'll wait a couple of minutes. And while that's coming in and I'm waiting for results, I will take questions from people. Just order columns declaration for masonry. We would just have it nothing to interfere with, yeah. So just order columns declaration for masonry. So the main thing there is like, because the order of things, to be able to fit things, stuff goes out of order. But the advantage too is if they do come in with those new properties they're talking about, it would also mean if you rearrange stuff with either Flexbox or grid, we'd also be able to get like a visual tab order on things. So if you mucked with order, you could still get the visual tab order to actually win or work instead. So yeah, only if the fix the challenge wins will I fix that off-centered button. Ryan, you've been looking at collaborating with a YouTuber. Is there any aspect of your channel that you could use help with, even if it's in the background? There are. Potentially. Depends what type of work you're looking at collaborating with. So email me, message me on Facebook. I do answer Messenger, so you can message me there. Or email me hi@kevinpowell.co, either one of those. But my email is a bit of a mess. So if I'm I do get Messenger even though I'm never on Facebook, so that might be the easier way. Since you actually have me on Facebook. Most people can't get me through Facebook. So if you do need to, if anybody does need to contact me for something else, you can use my email that I just said, which I can put right here. But there we go. That's the best way to reach me for email. You have a big problem. I have a nav in a div and should make it sticky when you scroll through the page, but the nav does not leave the parent div, but the div should. So yeah, if something's positioned sticky, it will only stay within its parent. It won't stick. Like if the parent goes off screen, it's going with the parent. So if you want the element to always, the only solution there is your nav, the div is the thing that's positioned sticky instead of the nav, or you move the nav outside of the div. Any book recommendations related to CSS or HTML? There's a good one that I can't think of the name of right now. Let me see if I can find it. 1 second. We'll hide my screen for a second. Is it this one? Sorry, 1 second. Yeah, it is this one. I haven't read it, but I know both authors know the topic really well. I haven't read the 5th edition. I've gone through other ones of it. Here we go. The Definitive Guide. Eric Meyer, I know, knows CSS, and Estelle does as well. Estelle actually does a lot of the MDM. If you read MDM stuff on CSS, you're probably reading a lot of things that Estelle has written. She does a lot with them. Yeah. Lori, yeah, I should do some stuff on like the basic Sass things. I probably have a little bit, but I probably could do like more individualized videos on things like that. It looks like Fix the Challenge is barely winning, but we're probably going to go with that. Is there a way to detect when element has wrapped using CSS? No, there isn't. Is there? Sort of. It depends. Okay. Before I fix the challenge, we're going to look at this. because you can, it depends this is a very much, it depends one. Because I've seen, let's do, and it depends on browser support here. But let's say we do, I'm just going to do a section with 2 divs in it, div times 2. No, let's do a div and an image. So we'll use the assets panel here. Photos. Should I use this one? Where's my assets? Your files. This is coming up in a video. Copy as image. We'll use this guy. He's pretty great. Okay. So image, we'll just say max width 100%. And this div, let's just put a bit of text in here. Hello world. And a paragraph with some lorem ipsum. And then my entire section is going to get a display of flex. We'll put a gap of 2 rem on there. And let's say that the section children are a... No, I don't want to do a flex 1 because that's what... Okay. I'm just trying to think. Section... I've done it like once or twice, but just testing. So I have to remember how this is going to work. So the section div, so I only have 1 div, so I can just do this. This is not production ready code. Let's say this has a flex basis of 50%, but we're going to give it a min width of 500 pixels. Is that just because we're flex boxing, so my image is crazy big, or did I make a mistake somewhere? And then anyway, it doesn't matter because this is also going to get a flex wrap on it of wrap. So I think, okay, image, we'll just do this here. Image width will be, let's try this and see what happens. 30. Or I can give it a hard value. Yeah, we'll do that. So we have this, right, where I have like this and then it wraps down at a smaller size. And then the fun, and then if I go on that, is this going to work? Let's just try. Section. No, I want to keep it like that, actually. That's fine. And so this is where you can actually, on this div, I'm going to say this is, no, on my image, we're going to give it a flex grow of 1. So it's going to grow and then it's going to go down. So what I can actually do here is on the section, we're going to say that we have, this is a container type inline size. This isn't going to work. That's on there. How does this work again? Okay, so it's the image needs a div. Okay, I'm going to have, I'm mucking this up, but whatever, we'll do it quickly. I'm going to have to change the names of some of my stuff. The image goes inside the div. And that means my div, let's call this one class equals content. And this one is class equals image. Image is okay. This one is my content. Okay, there we go. Plus that naming just makes more sense anyway, right? Okay, and then this isn't my image, this is my dot image. So there we go. Same behavior we had before. But my dot image, which is this, is going to get a container type of inline size. So again, browser support, this is going to use a container query. So that's the only caveat here. Where let's just say my image, I'm going to give it a background color now because that's the easiest way to see if it's working. And it's a PNG, so I can change the background color. And then I can say at container min width 100 VW, or yeah, I think that'll work. Not like that though. Width is, or we'll do like 80. If the width is greater than 80 VW, my image gets a background that is blue. And then it will No, it now knows when it wraps. So it's an interesting way to use viewport units with a container query is basically what that comes down to. So yeah, I got that from Andy Bell on something he was doing that was in a much more practical use case than this example that I'm doing here. But it changed the size of something else, or I don't remember exactly what the context of his example was. But when it wraps, because it gets wider and takes up the available space because of the flex grow, you can do that. If it's not going to change in the way that I'm doing now, then you can't really detect when things wrap. But yeah, I thought that was kind of cool that you could do that. Burak, I'm glad the subtitles are working. That is pretty neat. How do you do the text title of song, playlist, and Spotify when the viewport has small width, smaller text? Yeah, so that's using clamp for sure. We could do that now. Section, whatever, it doesn't really matter. Font size, clamp, 1 rem, I don't know, 5 viewport width plus 0.5 rem, and then 2 rem as in a bit of an exaggerated value version, but the text will get smaller and bigger. 3, 2. You always have to magic number that middle value, which is always like the thing that sucks, but the text gets smaller or bigger. My widths here are mucking stuff up. Oops, not that one. This one is sort of breaking things. Yeah, text gets bigger and smaller depending on it. That's the smallest it can get, that's the biggest it can get, and that's the growth factor in the middle. Jonathan Bout, a CSS only overflow menu. What do you mean? The Discord is here, https co/discord. Did that? Oh yeah, it worked. It also highlighted my name for some reason. Okay, so we're gonna go fix the challenge and then we'll call it a day. So we want to center that. Centering stuff in buttons like this is always a pain in the butt because it relies on the fonts and the way fonts are, but we'll try a few different tricks on how I would do it. Let's find my button. There we go. So the first thing usually that helps if you just have something like this is a line height of 1 or even 0. So that did actually change things. It's very subtle, but you can see a small change there. If you go to 0, if you don't have any text, that can sometimes help too. But just a 1 helps set the stage a little bit better. You can also do a display flex and align items center. It might not work here because as you can see it didn't. Did it center it? Let's change the font size on there too. Font size is going to be like a 1.5 rem just to make it a bit bigger. That didn't render very well. So that's pushing it down more. So let's just inspect on there because we might see what's actually causing the issue by highlighting it. Not at all. Is that just because I don't have enough room? So actually, okay, so there's the button. Oh, it's not letting me. This is where sometimes, did I do this with padding at all? I didn't set any padding on it. Because often just doing the display flex and the align items is enough to sort of just bring it up. Place items, it won't make a difference here. I just wanted to vertically and horizontally center it. But yeah, that's throwing it off a little bit. It's because it's a font, so fonts are always a bit funky, often with buttons. Let's see if there's anything in the chat, but Doobie, I'd say the opposite. Use grid for most things and then flexbox if grid doesn't do what you want it to. Yeah, it's because it's part of a font, so it's like these little HTML entities or whatever they're called. They're always a little bit funky. And just sometimes take some playing around with anything that's font related that's small like this, it's always going to be a little bit like mucked up compared to if it's just an SVG. If you have an SVG, it's going to be a lot easier to center it. My first padding, this might actually change the shape of my button though. Wait, let's just try 10 pixels. I'm just curious. Yeah, I would probably just like magic number if I really was doing this. It sucks. You leave a little comment in the code on why that padding's there. You just magic your number where you need it to go. I don't really like that, but sometimes that's what you need to do. On that, I'm also, since we said we're going to improve it, let's do hover and add focus visible. If you don't know focus visible, just use focus visible instead of focus. It's better. It's the better version. It's actually the default browser, what the browsers use by default now. So I guess the background could be changed then to my var color primary 2. And the color can change over to my var color neutral 1. And the reason I want to do that, there we go. Maybe the primary 1 would be better, just because it's going to be a little nicer. Nope, the 2. There we go. So we could do something like that. Maybe a different color on that would actually be better. But it's just, ooh, look at that. That's so ugly, that focus ring. Wow, what if I did an outline offset of like 3 pixels or something too? Wow, that's so weird. I guess it's just the padding I threw on there is really mucking up that outline. Putting a span on it wouldn't actually change it. If you take, let's just put something at the top here. This is in my HTML. Right at the top, before my section, let's just put in, I don't know, we'll do a button for the fun of it. Hello. I wouldn't suggest doing this. But if you do button height of 50 pixels or something ridiculous, let's do bigger, 150. And then I do, or it's already centered. Look at that. Let's do this as a div class equals example. And that's a closed div dot example. Background is blue. So my hello is stuck to the top. You can do a display flex and align content center, and it will align the content, align items center. So even though I don't have a span on that, it's still going to center it. It takes whatever the content is. So no need to wrap it in a span to be able to do that. Thanks for hanging out, Peter. A font weight bold, we could. Button. There we go. Is it going to change it? Oh, it didn't even change it. 700. Oh, that's as bold as we're getting, apparently. Custom font where the letters are on, like they're off shifted a little bit. I don't think I've ever seen specific use cases unless there's like weird zooming in and out. But custom fonts, unless it's a well crafted one on the web, they can sometimes be kind of weird and not work great. So yeah, another thing I wanted to do was actually make this work at light modes, which I don't think is going to take much, but we sort of wanted, so this is my root, so we're just going to do an at media first color scheme of dark, and let's redefine our colors. Actually, I'm going to stick with these colors here, and I'm just going to add one more, which is color neutral. We'll just call it 9 for my dark of black. I don't even know if we're going to need a black for anything. But what I sort of have started doing, because I do this when I'm using bigger projects or I'm using Sass or something where I have like 2 levels of variables. Because then what I'll do, I don't think this is the best idea actually. Because the only thing that really needs to change It's not the best. Yeah, it's not the best example. But what I tend to do is I'll do like then a color text. We'll get one of like whatever I need. And then all I'm doing is redefining. Like I have all of sort of the color palette and that stays in the same place all the time. And then I'm just redefining these within my media query. The problem here is that doesn't really need to happen. I wanted to get a little bit more creative with that. But where did I declare my font? Oh, I never declared a color. That would be why. So I probably wouldn't change it on the body, because if I had other text outside here, I would want it to change. So that would just be here. Color var color neutral 1. I mean, that fixes my color scheme, and I don't even need to do anything here. Which is kind of more boring. So if anybody wants to see something we can do with that, or even better now, in a way, is the new way of doing it, which has worse browser support. We're going to do it for the title just for fun. That was I don't remember, we called it section title, right? So you can do this now, section title. This is not well supported, but I think Chrome does. So I can say the color is light dark. And I can say that it's going to be green at light screens and red in dark mode. And then if I change my color scheme to light, it's going to go over to green and dark. And so you just have like a single declaration here. So that's kind of neat too, because here you do like your var, whatever, you can just set it as variables instead. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the browser support increasing on that. And then the other thing you would be able to do is here you could have your light, dark, sorry, is it light dark? I just did it, it is, okay. I could do my, text is light, dark, and then just put the two values I want here. And then here I would just do my color is my var text. And then it's going to grab whatever I have there. So you don't have to keep writing them all out and stuff like that. Yeah, it'd be cool. I'm looking forward to that being a thing. Another way to over-engineer this would be the text wrap balance. Yeah, you could definitely use a text wrap balance. I don't think it would actually change anything on this one though, because of where the breaks are happening and stuff. But I think text wrap balance is a nice sort of default to have, and text wrap pretty as well. Please fix the images so they are aligned in the center of the dark blue. Oh, they're a little bit off, eh? We magic numbered that though. Avatars. That was the problem with this approach. Oh, that looks pretty good. I'd make them have, the one problem with dark modes is light drop shadows look terrible. So if you have drop shadows, they're never as good. Have you ever done a challenge with Tunde Alao? I haven't. I don't know if I said his name right either, but I definitely haven't. Yeah, letting trim was delayed because of a lot of other stuff they were talking about, and they're not calling it letting trim anymore. They're now calling it something else, but it behaves the same way. Line height, same as height of button in pixels. I don't know what the height of my button is, and I'm not going to put a height on it because that would just be really hard to get it to be there. Yeah, the line height trick I haven't used in years, and I'd rather not. The height of 90 isn't, I needed the height of 90 instead of 80 here. Oh yeah, it was centered and then we threw it off. Okay. Would this, no. I was trying to think if I would fix something, but no, it wouldn't. If I could do it less magic numbery. The button's not 80 in height. That's my avatars are with height of 80. For these types of things, I don't mind setting a height, but for the button, I don't, because I need it to always fit. Like right now, if I went on my form, and I don't know why, let's just do font size of 2rem. because they changed the design. My button's always going to match it with how I set that up. So I don't like having a height set on that because I just want it to follow the size of the element that it's inside of. And if I set a height, it would just be, again, anytime I can avoid, like here for the positioning of these, I magic numbered it. And actually, because we don't need to magic number that anymore because we fixed it anyway, right? So let's get rid of that magic numbering. Avatars. I went this approach because of the wrapping, but since we're not wrapping stuff anymore, we can take this off. We can actually put this back to 80. I can make this 100%. No, we keep that at 80 actually. Ideally, I'd do that with a custom property because this is still kind of, oh no, I need the height 90. I need the height here to be larger than that one because of the overflow, but then we can use my positioning. And I broke everything because I need a closing comment. There we go. Except I still need you, and I still need the height. There we go. And now it's not magic numbered. Height. Oh, there we go. And the align self end. There we go. Why is it only align items? Start. That's the one I wanted. And now that's better. And now it's not magic numbered. Yeah, I guess it's not magic numbered. I was saying it looks a little bit off, but it should be perfect. A transition and a cursor on the button would be nice. We can do that. You know what we could do to make, we'll do a fancy transition. There's my button. So let's over engineer this one. Background, well actually, I earlier on I said don't use the shorthand. Background image, we're gonna background image this. Let's say that it's linear gradient. The linear gradient's gonna be var color neutral 1, var color primary 1, and the var color primary 2. And we have a problem. Oh no, it's working. Okay, perfect. It's weird the coloring does not like the coloring there. Syntax highlighting. And then we're going to do this at 90 degrees. So it's left to right. And then this is going to go up to 50%. Sorry, no. Yeah, is it easier to do that? Probably. We'll do that at 50%, but then we're going to change the background size to 200%. So we get a white background come in. And then when we hover and focus, we won't change the background color. We're going to change the background position. We'll change to right. And we can transition that. Transition background position 250 milliseconds. My coloring's gonna have to be fixed a little bit, but then we get the little, let's just make that 300. If that goes to 50, I would have thought it would have been pushed farther. Whatever, we'll go with that instead. Or I could just change and make that smaller, but there we go. We get a little slide in instead. And then we can also just do the pointer is cursor. No, the cursor is pointer. I always mix those up. There we go. So that's we could also register custom properties for the colors, and then you can just actually animate the colors instead of having to move the gradient along. But it's a nice little trick there to get that type of behavior. Text box trim. Yes, that's the one, Josh. Yeah, if you do want to transition gradients, you just have to do it with registered custom properties. Let's see if I remember how to do it. Which again, actually browser, it just shipped in Firefox, right? So all of them support it now. At property, we're gonna call it, we'll do color test 1. And so the syntax is color, inherits will be true, and initial value will be red. And by doing it, if you do this, it's sort of like TypeScript a little bit, where you're registering your custom property. So you're telling it what it is. There's a whole bunch of different, you can have string here, I think. There's numbers. I think it's number. If you need it as a percent, it's a percent number or number percent. I forget. You'd have to look at the full list, but I do know color is one of them. And the advantage is as soon as you do this, let's just, I'm trying to think of what we could do. Let's just do it on our body. Body, background, color is we probably don't want red then. Let's do steel blue. Steel blue so it doesn't hurt our eyes. And then we can do our var color test. And it's not working. If somebody could tell me why. Test 1. I don't know. Let's just do test. There we go. So it's working. So the advantage now is I can actually say body, and then I wouldn't do it for hover necessarily, but on my hover of my body, I can actually change what that is. So I can say my color test is now going to be purple. And then I can transition my color, transition color test 500 milliseconds. I might need to say that's variable. Oh no, you don't. There we go. So by registering a custom property, you can then transition the custom property. So the advantage with that is if I had this as a gradient, so instead of a background color, we did that as a background image, and I say that's a linear gradient. We have the color test, comma, black, let's say. And now it will transition that color. It's not transitioning the gradient itself, it's transitioning the value of the gradient. And you can do both of them or whatever you want, but that opens up that door. And yeah, Firefox just added support for custom properties. So it's for registered properties. And I've heard that debugging can also be easier if you do it. I think it was Anna Tudor, maybe, who posted on socials that she likes registering them because it's easier to debug if you're using it with JavaScript and stuff or something. Something like that anyway. But yeah, kind of a neat thing that you can do. And the other thing that's cool with this is because I'm changing the value of the custom property. Technically, like I could do body hover and change a custom property that I'm using in other places. So it can have pretty big effects and stuff that you're doing too. But the first use case people always have it for is just doing gradients. You could definitely do that too. The pseudo element that has the opacity 0 and then you change the opacity. That would definitely work. And then the advantage of doing it with a pseudo element instead is it won't have to slide across necessarily. You can add a gradient in or change a gradient or do other stuff. Yeah. So I think it's time for me to go because I've been at it for a while now. I want to say thank you for everyone who's been hanging out with me this whole time. I know every time I do these, people say I should do more of them, so I'll definitely think about doing more. I don't know when I will, but eventually I'll do another one of these. And I'm just looking really fast to see if there's any other questions. I guess we'll take this off. Is there any other, if anybody thinks of a quick improvement I can make to here, I'll throw it in there before I submit the challenge to finish things off, or if there's any last minute questions that just pop up. I'm good at saying I'm gonna leave and then stay on for an hour, but I do gotta get going. It's time to start making some supper. Thanks for hanging out, Chris. I hope you enjoyed it. It took me, I was hoping to get through 2 challenges, but the HTML game took longer than I was planning. I said I was going. Yeah, I don't think anything lasts. Okay. Everyone's saying bye anyway, so Thanks for hanging out, Ryan. Nice having you here. Do more stuff on I Code This. Yeah, I'm definitely going to do it once in a while. If anybody does want, there's the link to it. If you want to try this challenge or any of the other ones, they have tons of stuff. It's free to sign up. They have more stuff if you pay, but you definitely don't have to. And if you're looking for more challenges and you've done a whole bunch of front end mentor stuff or whatever, I would definitely recommend checking out I Code This as well. Move the arrow pixel up 1 pixel. I'll do it once I end the stream. All right, thank you everybody. Please do more. I'm guessing you mean live streams, but yeah, we'll figure out something. I want to do live streams as some sort of semi-regular content. At one point, I was doing them weekly on Twitch, and it just took so much of my time. So maybe one day those will come back too. I'm working on a side project. The problem is I'm working on it at like random times and with like 15-minute little bouts whenever I have time. But that could be something I could do in a stream too one day. But yeah, I'm trying to see if I have a thank you screen, but I don't think I have one before I go. But the problem is there's a delay, and if I hit end, I think it ends it for everybody, even though you haven't caught up with where I am yet. Alain, I'm guessing it's Alain, even though it looks like Alan, but you're in France, so I'm glad that I've helped you with what you've been doing. How could I have done it? How fast could I have done it without interacting with the chat? Probably not that much faster, but not like insanely much. It always slows me down when I'm talking things out loud too, but awesome. So yeah, I'm gonna get going. I guess I can't find any thank you screens that I had. I have my countdown, which I don't think is the right one. So I'm just gonna end the stream. Or you know what I could do? I could just, no, I don't want to do that. I don't know what half of these scenes are I have in OBS anymore. Oh, maybe it's done in Twitch actually. I have my Twitch ones. Yeah, there we go. I did have a thank you one after all. So thank you all for watching. I appreciate it. If last thing, actually, I'll put it in the chat while we're on this screen. But if you do want anything else, there's the Discord where I hang out. I'm not there as much lately because I'm busy working on a course, but you can definitely get help there in general. And if I am around, I'm always diving into the help channels to see if I can help as well. So thank you, everybody. And I'll see you eventually next time, whatever it is. And of course, until next time, don't forget to make your corner of the internet just a little bit more awesome.